Charm Chats with Kendra and Kat. Just a couple of girls talk about this and that. Get familiar with Blue and the charmed ones too. Charm Chats.
Hello! Welcome to Charm Chats
With Kendra
and Kat.
Yay!
Woo! We're at episode 114. Hi, Blue. Thank you for kisses. It's called Secrets and Guys.
So, basically, you're never going to remember this episode title.
Yeah. It's a reference on the
Secrets and Lies.
Secrets and Lies, which was apparently a film in, 1996.
Also a common phrase?
Yeah. It aired February 17th, 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Blue?
Oh, that was a big yawn.
Yeah, big yawn from the doggy.
Yawnsies.
Yeah. And it's an amazing episode.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
It's really cute. It's one of the ones that I've remembered for a very long time.
Yeah. I will be honest, I did not remember a lot of this episode, which is so weird for me.
Oh, I didn't remember all of it. I just remembered the A-plot. Max.
Oh, yeah.
I remembered all of that.
Yeah.
I'd completely forgotten about the B-plot.
I had forgotten about most of the B-plot, other than the fact that Leo was in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I had forgotten what his point in the episode was.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, with regards to, future plot points that the sisters figure out, I thought they just figured it out when he came back at the end of the season. Because I know what happens then.
Mm-hmm.
I'd forgotten it had been a subject much earlier, like 8 episodes earlier.
Yeah.
Well, 6.
Yeah.
6 or 7, I think. Yeah.
Okay, Blue. Oh, thank you for kisses. I vaguely remembered that Leo was in this episode because Leo, and,
Yeah.
Because
you pay lots of attention to him.
I do. He's one of my absolute favorite secondary characters, especially from, the first few seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Later seasons, I have other characters that I enjoy immensely.
This is true.
But Leo has always been one of my top, 2.
I know who my choice is for season 6.
Yeah, we're not getting there yet.
I know, but you know who I'm talking about.
I know. I also know who my least favorite character is.
Yes.
But luckily, we're not there yet.
No. Don't see them until season 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, next season. Right, Blue? I love how we're both such huge nerds right now. You have your Ravenclaw sweater, and I have my TARDIS sweater.
Well, and my Jupiter Ascending shirt.
That's amazing.
No, okay, so when I was at Chicago Comic-Con, or Wizard World, you know what I mean.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
My coworker Michelle was getting a tattoo done of an AT-AT and the Imperial logo.
Nice.
It's really cool. Posted the photos on Facebook, you probably saw them. And then she met me as I was just, wandering the floor. And I finally had made my way back to Artist Alley. I was in, the back of Artist Alley. That was where I got my gay pirate erotica.
All right.
Which is in my purse, and I will show you.
Okay.
It's adorable. And that's where that picture of the guy in the pantaloons swiping my card comes from. That's the author.
Got it.
Purposefully going, I'm going to swipe this as sluttily as possible. Just take a picture. So I did.
Nice.
And she found me when we were doing that. And then at the end of the day, we're just kind of wandering around. And she remembered that there was this bookmark of a cat at the door of the TARDIS that she had lost. But it was printed on metal. And she remembered that the artist was going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So we go over there, and there's this lady who does, realistic cat illustrations. Cat Deadpool, but, proportioned like a cat, not just a person with a cat head and paws.
Okay.
Which I appreciate the attention to, realism for cats.
Yes.
And we found the bookmark, we got it, and then the next stall over was this woman called Dalen Ogden.
Okay.
And she's got a bunch of, Art Deco prints and Alphonse Mucha inspired things.
I don't know who that is.
Pretty famous artist from the 20s. He did a lot of Art Deco stuff. Let me see if I can just quickly Google something.
Okay. I can never.
Yeah, this kind of shit.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Little triptych-y. Well,
That's a 4 Seasons, but hang on.
I was that's one more than a triptych, but I knew what I meant.
Yeah, so this kind of style.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's his style, and a lot
Okay.
of artists right now are kind of going, hey, I really like this style, let me do this with, fandom stuff. And she's one of those. And for, like, a brief second, I thought it was this woman who does a lot of stuff for T-Fury, or, well, that ends up on T-Fury, Megan something or other. And I've got a few t-shirts of hers, but she's more for, like, a, hey, it's like a tattoo sort of style.
Mm.
But anyway, I'm looking at all of these, you know, Art Deco Alphonse Mucha looking things, and I'm thinking, damn, Jupiter Ascending would look really good in this style. Like, really. And she just finished talking to someone who was asking her if she knew about something. I'm like, well, I don't really want to bother her, but I really want to, like, let her know just in case, because I think it would be right up her alley. And so I'm like, sorry if this is, you know, one of those you haven't heard of it things, but I was wondering if you're familiar at all with Jupiter Ascending. And she, like, smacks the table, and she's like, oh boy, am I.
That's awesome.
And we talked for, like, 10 minutes about this, and she saw me, like, staring at some of, like, these postcard thingies. I picked one of them up. It's a comic that she's working on publishing online about, like, sort of magical realism, wherein magic doesn't exist until 1997, when a mountain cracks open and releases the force of magic unto the world.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know. It's beautiful. And I love that she chose 1997, because it's a very specific technological point in time.
Yeah.
And so from there, like, certain things that aren't very advanced, like, get, you know, kickstarted with magic. Like, the main character is a girl who lost an eye, and at the time, like, eye transplants couldn't happen, but she got one because magic.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So there's, like, a pre-1997 stuff and post-1997 stuff. And it looks really interesting, but she hasn't started publishing it yet.
I think you might have told me about this once before, because I vaguely remember the eye transplant thing. But
oh, yeah, I think we were in the car.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
It does. But anyway, like, I would love if everyone were to check out Dalen Ogden, because she does some amazing shit.
Okay, spell her name?
Dailen, Ogden.
Ogden?
Yes. The Ogden part is not the difficult part.
Hey, you know, you never know. We do have a couple of listeners from other countries, which is blowing my mind.
Well, for me, the fact that her name is Dalen was really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not a name I have ever seen,
or
really ever expect to see again. So this is going to stick out in my memory.
Yeah.
But, like, I was standing at her booth, and I'm like, wait, you have a Tumblr? Okay, I'm following you now.
Right this very, very second.
Do you have a mailing list? She's like, no, not yet. But I will get on that, because I am joining it.
Nice. Yeah, I know that there's a couple of people that I follow on Tumblr that I have met, well, probably because of DashCon, but, like, there's a few people, like Iguana Mouth.
Yeah.
That I just randomly, like, was searching for things because, you know, I watch Critical Role on Thursdays, and they're dealing with dragons right now, and so I was looking up dragons and stuff on Tumblr, because I'm me and I'm weird and whatever. And I found Iguana Mouth and her hordes of stuff. And so I now have a print of the Horde of Dice.
Nice.
Dragon, and I love it so much. I want to get it framed.
For murder?
No, for my wall.
Yeah. How did we get onto this track?
No idea.
Oh, right, you were talking about how nerdy we were being.
Oh, yeah.
And then something. I forget.
Yeah.
But speaking of nerdy, I made a purchase this week.
Did you? So did I.
Yes.
What did you purchase?
I got the complete series of Charmed because I'm fucking tired of hearing the wrong music. And not hearing the lyrics to the opening theme.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating for me.
Yeah, I think that would be more frustrating to me.
Uh-huh.
Is not hearing the lyrics.
But yes, it's gorgeous. It looks like the Book of Shadows, but, like, skinny, narrow. Not skinny.
Narrow.
And
it's very thick.
It is very thick, and it's got, like, the embossed cover from a photo. Clearly a grainy photo, though, because they didn't bother just, like, scanning the fucking prop.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's got
the
pages.
prop might not have been around anymore.
True. But it's got the pages from the series, from the Book of Shadows. Like, it's got the title page. It says Book of Shadows 1693. And then someone added DVD collection at the bottom.
Yeah. Well,
in the same calligraphy.
Font. Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. I adore it. And the pages are all rough on the edges and yeah, it's great.
I'm very excited. But you did not watch this episode on that since you just got it. Are you going to watch next week's episode on that?
I think so.
Okay, then one of us is going to have to check Netflix just to see what
I'll check Netflix. Okay. It won't be a problem.
Okay.
I'm just so
Because I still want to know what song Netflix has.
Yeah, see, the only thing I don't like is that the DVDs kind of poke out the top,
Yeah.
which may change, but that's fine. It's got bookmarks, too, so it's got a red and a black,
Where are they right now in the book?
just straight across from where they were
Well,
glued.
yeah, but I'm saying, where are they right now in the book? Like, if you open them.
The
Where
red
do
one-
they lead?
The red one is the beginning of the Season 3 discs,
Okay.
and the black one is at the beginning of the Season 7 discs.
Alright. So that's not too
Wow,
bad.
okay, sorry, I just saw a picture of someone who's really ugly, and I don't remember this person.
Well, that's fine. That's season 7. We won't get there for a while. See you in a couple years, picture.
The second thing I got was
Oh, yes.
the Book of Shadows companion to Charmed, which I thought was going to be more like a behind-the-scenes thing, and really, I guess it's kind of for people who want to get into magic because of Charmed,
Hmm.
and just uses the show as a tie-in or whatever. Also, it was published in 2000, so it doesn't have a whole lot.
Yeah, because that's after season 3, I think.
Yeah.
At the end of season 3.
I'm a little miffed, because at the end, where they have, like, the, charming people or whatever, they have the cast and their filmographies. They don't even have Brian Krause in there.
That's annoying.
I know. They have someone from season 2. They don't have Brian Krause, who's arguably been in more episodes than the person they have from season 2. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, those are my purchases this week.
Well, your purchases were very much in line with this podcast and this TV show. Mine, however, was very much not. I was talking with a friend about random TV shows that I knew about and he apparently had no idea about, which...
Such as?
Tech War.
Okay.
Tech War was a book series first that was created by William Shatner.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It was ghostwritten by somebody else, but it was created by him. He came up with the characters and the concepts, and then somebody else wrote the stories. But his name is on the book. On the books, I should say. More than one. Many of them. And it then became a TV show.
Okay.
And I finally was able, a couple months back, to finally get the complete DVD series
Awesome.
of the show.
How many seasons?
Tech War only had one season, but it spanned 3 years.
Okay.
The first 2 episodes started in December of 1994,
Mm-hmm.
and then episodes 3, 4, and 5 were in January of 95, and then they apparently took February off. Episodes 6, 7, and 8 were in March, 9 and 10 were in April, 11, 12, and 13 were in June, and 14 was in July of 1995. And then the final 4 episodes, 15 and 16, were in January of 96, and 17 and 18 were in February of 96.
Wow.
Yeah. So a single season spanning over 3 years.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And it is, like, the most campy, fucked up, like, stupid fucking show. It's only 18 episodes, but I love it so much.
I would expect nothing less from Shatner and
Yes.
something in the 90s called Tech War.
Yeah. The book series was really cool. I haven't read the books in
title
a while,
itself
but...
is not indicative of anything, but you say, oh, it aired in the 90s, and you go, okay, I know exactly the tone this is going to be in.
Yeah. Let me give you just the
Briefest of synopses.
The very first sentence of the summary on IMDb. The year is 2045, and Tech, it's T-E-K, a highly addictive computer-based reality drug, takes the users of the drug into a fantasy world.
Oh, lovely.
That's all you need to know to be like, I'm watching this. It's amazing. And the funniest thing for me is the main cop dude in the show is a character named Jake Cardigan. Yep. Let that settle into your brain for a second. You got it?
Sounds like he has a cozy personality.
Yep, there you go. I was waiting for it. So, he's played by a guy named Greg Evigan. I think that's how you say it.
How's it spelled?
Evigan.
It's Evigan or a vegan.
No, I don't think it's a vegan.
No,
It's
no.
Evigan.
Although if it is vegan, he'd need that cardigan.
I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. So, before the TV show, there were 4 TV movies. Yeah. They were all in 1994. They all have the caveat, the first little bit of Tech War. So the first one was just Tech War. The second one was Tech War Tech Lords. The third was Tech War Tech Lab. And the fourth and final movie was Tech War Tech Justice. Yeah. And then the TV show Tech War. Because it was based on the books. I will admit, haven't actually seen the TV movies. I've only seen the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
But the best part, and the reason, I don't know why, but the reason that it sticks out in my brain
Mm-hmm.
is he has a weapon that's a little like, it literally looks like a key fob for a car,
Mm-hmm.
and you push a button and a little pellet shoots out. That's the image that I have whenever I think of Tech War, is that stupid little, like, because I drive a Prius,
Yeah.
so my car key is a key fob. I have no actual key to my car, it's just a little fob. And every time I look at that fob, I go, if I push that button, is that pellet going to come out? Because that's where it is in my brain. But the reason that I love it so much is because before this movie, people will know this actor as Joey Harris on My Two Dads. God, I forget how young you are. You have no idea? You know nothing
The
of My Two
title
Dads?
sounds vaguely familiar, but I never watched it. Click full summary, please.
Sure thing.
Okay, that was misleading. Okay, for the listener, here was the abbreviated summary as written on IMDb. When Marcy Bradford dies, she leaves her teen-age daughter, Nicole, in the custody of a father she has never met, semicolon, or rather, two fathers. Michael, a straight and formal man, and Joey, and you have to click See Full Summary. When you click See Full Summary, it reveals it says, Joey, a wild artist. Both were Marcy's farmer boyfriends, and together they provide a unique balance of parenting skills for young Nicole. Damn it!
Yep, you were hoping.
I was hoping beyond hope, because why the fuck would you put straight and formal man?
Yep. In this case, straight does not mean his sexual orientation,
I
though
know.
it does, because they're both straight.
Ugh.
But it's he's a straight man. He's very much
I know,
a
I
straight arrow.
use that term a lot, but
Yeah.
like,
I know.
they're setting it up to contrast, and you don't know which direction they're going to contrast it with.
I know. And you're just hoping against hope, but no. But yeah, My Two Dads had 3 seasons from 1987 to 1990.
The connotation now would be like, oh yeah, I have 2 dads, meaning like, my dads are gay.
Yeah.
And I knew that wasn't going to happen in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s?
87. was
87,
when it
late
started,
80s.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can at least hope that one of them isn't straight.
Nope.
Although it'd be pretty difficult to pin down a reason why he'd be taking care of the kid. Because goodness knows the media doesn't want to be like, oh, he's bi.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. The trivia for My Two Dads. Well into the airing of the series, perhaps in the 2nd or 3rd season, NBC accidentally aired a promo for a future episode referring to the show by its working title, Who's Dad? The fact that that was the working title is just fucking funny to me.
Oh, dear.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you got Tech Wars.
I've had that one for a bit, but again, talking to this person who had never even heard of Tech Wars, the books, let alone the TV show, but they knew Firefly,
Mm-hmm.
and we were chatting about Firefly, and so I was like, oh, well, you know, there's a show that Gina Torres was in before Firefly that he, again, had no idea about, and I literally just watched not too long ago,
Mm-hmm.
and have been wanting it on DVD so much, and I couldn't find it, and I finally found it last night.
Nice.
It's called Cleopatra 2525, and it is
I heard of that.
It is so crazy and stupid and amazing.
It's giving me a Sliders vibe. Is that accurate? Which, granted, I never... Oh, God. Oh, man. Holy shit. This is... What the fuck?
If you have never seen Cleopatra 2525...
Allow me to describe these outfits. WWE lingerie.
Yeah.
That's what they're wearing.
Yeah. That is a very good description.
Thank you.
If you have never even heard of Cleopatra 2525, go to IMDb right now. Pause us. Go to IMDb right now and just look at that
2525 is in the year.
The numbers. Yeah, as in the year.
Oh, God, I just read the summary.
Oh, here, wait. Let me go to the full summary for you.
Let me read this out for you. An exotic dancer, cryogenically frozen in the year 2001, is accidentally thawed out in 2525 by 2 female warriors who are fighting against evil robots which have taken over the world. The 3 join forces and try to escape the underground caverns to which humanity has been banished, meeting up with all sorts of strange creatures along the way.
Yeah.
The fuck? This clearly only was 1 season.
2, actually. 28 episodes, 2 seasons.
Okay, was the 1st or 2nd season abbreviated? Or were they both? Were they like 16 episode seasons or something? I don't know.
Let's look.
14.
14 in the first
Okay,
season.
so it looks like they were both equal 14 episodes. Dear me.
Yeah. 14 episode seasons. But it started, this is the best part, is it started in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
January of 2000. And she was supposed to have been cryogenically frozen in 2001.
Yeah.
So it was already in the future before it was in the future.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's one more thing you got this week. Your t-shirt.
Oh, yes. I was like, what else did I get? I already said my Dr. Who sweater.
Yeah, it didn't take that long.
I'm gonna put it
You'll
on.
have to try it on to see if it actually fits. And I can trim the inside seams a little bit. Because I did that thing where I straight sew and then I do like a crooked stitch so that it'll hopefully hold together a little better. This shirt says, responsible people take steps to prepare for a nap. And Kat decided she wanted to make it a little better fitting by inserting panels of cat fabric. Okay, is that still tight?
No, actually, that works out really nicely.
Thank you. And if the inside
It's a Michael
seams
Aranda shirt,
Yeah.
and it's amazing.
if the inside seams are bothering you, I can trim them down a little bit. I got new fabric scissors.
Right now, I'm wearing it over another shirt, so
This is true.
I can't tell you.
But
But,
it looks good.
yeah, it doesn't feel tight on my boobs anymore, which is great.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna
And it
take
was
it back
really
off.
funny because the hems on the insert panels are all different lengths.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened because one side, like, I basically ran out of fabric at both ends. And the other side, I had extra, and I cut them the same length. So I don't know what the fuck happened.
Don't know.
But, you know, it is what it is. And I think I'm getting pretty good at this.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So I was down here for a while working on that. And then I go upstairs because I realize I haven't eaten and it's like 7. And this is on Friday. And I'm walking up the stairs when Kay decides that she's letting out the dogs. And so she's got the basement door open and she's trying to coax one of them to, like, get the fuck out. And the basement door is completely blocking me from going up the stairs. So I walk and I'm just standing behind the basement door waiting for her to, like, shut it so I can go past. And so, in trying to, you know, just wait there, I pull back the curtain that's over one of the windows, and I'm just looking through because I'm trying to see which dog is outside already. Sure enough, it's Chicky, who's outside, and Gus is being reluctant for some reason. And, in retrospect, this was a lot creepier than I thought, because she turns her head and sees my face in the window pane. With the dark basement behind me. Her eyes go wider than I thought eyes could go. And she goes, "Wah!" and runs up the stairs. Her friend is also here getting ready in the bathroom. And here's Caitlin just flip a shit. She'd left the back door open too. And I walk upstairs, and she had run into her bedroom.
That's funny.
And then turns around. And she's like, I just peed my pants.
Oh, poor Kaylin.
This girl, okay, so like,
Oh.
this was completely unintentional. But the perfect storm of me doing unintentionally creepy thing with girl who is super fucking easy to scare.
Yes.
Like, I scare her routinely by standing in the same spot while she turns a corner.
Yep.
Oh my god, it was hilarious. Her friend was cracking up too, and she's told me she'll get me back for that. I don't think it's likely.
No, I don't think
No.
so.
It's not very possible with me.
Nope.
Right, Blib? So yeah, I saved that story for now, so I could watch your reaction like this.
That's awesome.
Plus also related to the shirt, so figured I had an in.
So a quick back to Greg Evigan for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because I looked at his Wikipedia page instead of just his IMDb page.
Mm-hmm.
I know him from My Two Dads because that was on when I was, a kid. Apparently before that, most people would actually know him from BJ and the Bear, which was from, 79 to 81, where he starred as Billy Joe BJ McKay, a truck driver whose best friend was a chimpanzee named Bear. Because, 70s. But, even more interesting, you know the movie Legally Blonde?
Yes.
Okay, the song Perfect Day?
Mm-hmm.
He wrote it. I know, right?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, those big eyes of Kendra's just got huge. Yeah. And apparently in 1998 there was a TV show called When Insects Attack. I don't know, but he apparently had a couple of segments where he was telling when insects attacked him or something. And they had reenactments done by actors, and the actor that was reenacting him was Mark Gatiss.
Oh my gosh.
Comes full circle to nerddom. It really does.
It really does.
Really, really does.
It really does also, because my first thought when you said that it was one season across 3 calendar years was, did Sherlock take a page from them?
Sherlock isn't one season over 3 years. It's 3 years between seasons.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have no idea how long we've been talking, but we haven't even started the episode. So we've tangented for a while.
Yes.
Maybe we should start the actual episode now.
Yes.
All right.
You had stories to tell, and I had stories to tell.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen each other in a whole week.
Oh my gosh, a week!
I was having separation anxiety. Missed you.
Calm down. Gus will hear you, and then he will start freaking out.
Yeah, I know.
Granted, he's had 5 calming treats now, and have recommended 3 to 4.
Okay,
Okay.
All right, so we start this episode in a very lovely exterior shot of a good-looking house. Very suburban.
Yes.
Very nice.
Lovely, suburban, upper middle class.
Yeah. And inside, a man carries some food over to a child sitting on a couch playing with an Etch-a-Sketch. I didn't know Etch-a-Sketch was still a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had to remind myself, 99,
Yeah.
when it was still a thing.
No, and it was very much a thing.
Yep. I still love the fact that there's an Etch-a-Sketch museum that lost everything because of an earthquake. It's still hilarious to me.
It really is. There are definitely pictures of everything in the museum.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Like, I don't feel bad that everything is lost.
Yeah.
I just love that now there is that headline that this is a real thing that really
Actually
happened.
Yep.
And I don't mind. They can use it for whatever else they want. I don't even care if they bring the Etch-a-Sketch Museum back or if they just put photos from the Etch-a-Sketch Museum in a collection somewhere.
Yeah. The fact that there is an actual thing that happened was an Etch-a-Sketch museum lost all of their stuff because of an earthquake. It's just by far the funniest thing ever. The man is wearing gray pants, a blue shirt, and a purplish checked tie. And the child is in gray pants and a black and gray striped t-shirt. Because I wrote that down.
Yeah.
Because I knew that they were going to be a thing. And I had completely forgotten that they were both African American. Like, I remembered kind of this episode, but like I had legit forgotten.
That was something I had remembered.
Yeah.
Don't know why. But
I
I guess I had. I guess that just stuck with me.
Well, I remembered that the first, like, witch that they meet that's,
An actual
an
witch.
actual witch
Yeah.
was a boy. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
But that's literally all I remembered from... But yeah, whatever. So, a loud noise happens, and then dudes wearing ski masks run in and grab the kid. The man calls for the kid, and we learn that the kid's name is Max.
And the man gets, like, pushed into a chair.
Yeah.
And one of the guys is holding Max at gunpoint, and the other one's holding the dad at gunpoint.
Yep. He tells him not to move, that they're gonna borrow his kid just for a day. And they tell him not to call the cops, because all bad guys tell you not to call the cops.
Well, he's like, if you're smart, you'll call the cops. And the kid will be back for school on Monday. Safe and sound.
Safe and sound.
As long as you don't call the cops.
Yep.
And he's like, you get me? And the guy, like, vigorously nods.
Yep.
And then gets pistol whipped into unconsciousness.
Yep. But only after it was the just our little secret, right?
Oh, my God.
So, yeah.
And
then,
as Homer would say, pistol whip.
every time I think of The Simpsons, and this is it's so stupid, but like most people when they think of Homer Simpson, they automatically think of the dough line or
Dough.
Yeah, exactly. For me, every single time, my immediate reaction is, soul donut. I don't know why.
The pistol whip thing for me is the strongest.
Yeah, see, I don't know that one very well, but like...
Well, it's just because someone says pistol whip and like, he always, when he thinks something sounds like a food term, he's always like, term, and then he imagines himself eating it.
Yeah.
And so the pistol whip is him with a gun picking up Cool Whip and eating it.
That's horrifying.
I know!
That's horrifying. I will admit, though, I haven't watched The Simpsons in a very long time.
There might have been a Bob episode.
A what now?
The clown. What's his face? Bob?
Sideshow?
Sideshow Bob.
Sideshow Bob. I vaguely remember him, yeah.
I think that might have been a Sideshow Bob episode, but I can't remember.
Anyway. But yeah, so it looks like as they grab Max and drag him out, that they also grabbed his coat to cover his face, which I thought was kind of funny.
I mean, then he has a coat for the rest of the episode, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, they're wearing coats, and
Yeah.
you don't want to leave without a coat for the kid.
Well, because this is supposed to be, like, February.
Yeah.
So...
Granted, seasons in San Francisco, as I understand it, are a bit weird. Like, winter is warmer than summer sometimes, just because of the current from the ocean.
Yeah, it's all the water's fault.
That's what we say in Chicago, because lake effect.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so then we cut to the manor via night shot.
Mm-hmm.
And the sisters are sitting at a table in the attic, apparently spring cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
Piper is in light jeans, a gray shirt, and a greenish sweater with like a line pattern on the bust that's very reminiscent of the one that she was wearing at the beginning of the Wendigo episode.
Mm-hmm.
Except this one is a zip-up. That one was a pullover.
Okay.
Phoebe...
Also, that one was a turtleneck.
Yeah. Phoebe has got on jeans and a baseball-style t-shirt that's
has
blackish gray on the shoulders and arms and red on the torso.
Yep, it was cute.
Yeah. And Prue is wearing black pants, a white shirt with some sort of pattern on it that I kind of thought was like the cherries.
Okay.
Where it kind of looked like the shirt that Phoebe had worn as a nightshirt with the cherries on it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what it was, but it kind of looked like that to me. And a grayish-brown zip-up sweater and slippers.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the slippers. And Piper was also wearing slippers.
Yeah.
But Phoebe
is not.
is barefoot.
Because Phoebe
is painting her toes.
Yes.
Yeah. And Prue is wearing a different necklace.
Oh my gosh.
It's not her usual diamond. It's a little cross that looks more like a plus sign. But here's my headcanon, okay? Because she conquered her fear in the last episode, that the necklace that she usually wore was like her mother's, so she wore it every day, like even in the bathtub, in like remembrance of her mother. But now that she's had that moment with Mom helping her through this thing, she doesn't need to wear it every day.
Okay.
So I could be completely wrong. It could be something completely different. It could be, something that...
The prop master left it somewhere and...
Yeah, or Shannon broke up with the guy who gave it to her. I don't know. It could, I have no idea why she was wearing it every day, or why she stopped wearing it, and I don't think we'll ever know. So my headcanon works for me.
And we'll see if it's in future episodes.
Exactly.
So they're all, like, doing spring cleaning, and Phoebe's thinking, this is a wonderful idea.
It's a joy, yeah. But my favorite is the very first thing, because Piper is pulling stuff out of a box next to her. The very first thing she pulls out of the box is an Etch-a-Sketch. Which was very funny. But yeah, Phoebe says that she's absolutely enjoying this, and Piper says that's because she's not doing anything.
And she's like, that's not true. I painted
both my fingers and my toes. Yeah, it was super funny. And she's still painting her toes with, like, a clear polish. So, like a top coat, probably. Yeah. And Prue hopes that what they're doing doesn't fall under the personal gain category.
Piper's like, a good witch is a clean witch.
Yeah. And Phoebe agrees, saying that they should spring clean like this more often. And then...
Wide shot.
Yeah.
And you see things are moving all around the attic, because guess what? Prue is doing everything.
Yes. But Phoebe gives Prue a "you go, girl."
Yeah.
And this is like the third or fourth time that someone has said that in this show, and I think it's hilarious.
It really is.
I haven't kept a tally, but a wonderful listener told me it was like the third or fourth time that she said it.
I think she said the fourth.
Yeah, it's great. I just love that other people are keeping tallies of
usually
things.
Phoebe.
It is, yeah. But this is the first time that we see Prue use her powers to move multiple objects at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It's like the Weasley's house up in there.
It is. It really is.
Or Magician's Apprentice or some shit.
Yeah. She closes drawers, puts things in a box.
Moves things onto shelves.
Yeah, straightens toys and books.
There's a window wiper.
Now the window. Here's the thing about this. She cleans a window, but it didn't look like it was actually getting cleaned.
It
looked like the spray from the cleaning solution was on the opposite side of the window that the cloth was moving. Because the cloth is moving and the spray isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, that must be a tougher illusion to set up prop-wise.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because, like, I can see, like, there's books that suddenly write themselves.
Yeah, and
like,
trophies get lifted to get
a string, like...
Yeah. But, like, I either wouldn't have had the spray on the window, or I would have had somebody, wipe a little bit of the spray so it didn't look like it was a brand new spray. And, yeah.
Yeah.
I would have done, like, you see the spray bottle spray the window, and then the cloth heads toward the window as the window's about to get cleaned. Because that would have made much more sense and wouldn't have looked so shit.
Yeah, I think this was just like a, hey, let's see what practical effects we can do with this.
Yeah.
And they kind of wanted to show off, which I feel.
Yes.
Like, yes, you get to show off.
And we get to see Kit the cat.
Yes.
Where the fuck is she been? Just saying.
Elsewhere.
Uh-huh. But what I
On
wouldn't
official
give...
cat business.
Yeah.
You
what
would
I
know.
wouldn't-
You are a cat.
I am indeed. It's like what I wouldn't give to be able to clean like that.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be amazing.
And of course, you get lots of good, Shannon Doherty squinting.
Mm-hmm. And we
Squinting in different directions, squinting with different intensities.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much squinting. And, like, it always zooms in on her face whenever she squints. And you
Yeah.
hear the sound effect.
Yeah.
They've been pretty consistent with that sound effect.
Yeah.
Which I think with the girls' powers, they tend to be. With other sound effects, not so much.
Yeah.
Cough, cough. Truth spell. Cough, cough.
Yes.
Are you laughing because I just said cough, cough?
Yes.
I'm not trying to be subtle.
I love it. We see in one of the overhead shots that the spirit board is on the table in front of them.
Mm.
And then the last thing that Prue does is puts away the broom using her power.
It just slides,
Just
across
the
frame.
room. Yeah. And Piper has said that she did a good job.
Mm.
You know.
And then she sees there's a box of toys.
Yep. And she's excited that Grams didn't throw them all away.
Prue, of course, says, yeah, but we will.
Uh-huh. And,
Phoebe asks what's in there, and
and then
Piper starts pulling out stuff.
Phoebe wants to know what's in the box. And my notes are, cue Brad Pitt screaming here.
What's in the box?
Yes.
And sure enough, in the box, there are stuffed toys without eyes.
eyeballs, which she's holding up an elephant.
Yes. We can't see the other eyeball, granted. And
Mm-hmm.
then dollies.
Yep.
She doesn't say dollies.
Yep.
Dollies.
Dollies that look like they've been through the mill once or twice, and she's trying so hard not to laugh at that line.
Yeah.
But the baby doll that she picks up has the most fucked up patch of hair on its head.
It's Zuko.
It-
It's
oh.
Prince Zuko, but
I
a
don't know.
baby and blonde.
I don't get that reference, but
That's because you haven't watched Avatar: The Last Airbender.
yeah, I have not.
Like, okay, you may not have time to go through the entire series, but please do have time to go through the first episode.
Okay.
And it's not completely indicative of the entire series, but it's pretty good for like the overall feel and theme of it at the beginning, because it does get a little darker later.
Okay.
But it starts off kind of light and fun, and sure, there's some like dark sort of threads, but they're not like it's a thread. It's not an embroidery.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but yeah, because then you'll get the Zuko thing.
Okay.
Because that's what his hair looks like. He's got the one ponytail, everything else is shaved.
Got it. But yeah, it was a fucked up patch of hair. And she throws the fucked up baby doll on the ground. And then she actually pushes another toy out of the way to pull out 3 books saying that they're Miss Phoebe's diaries.
And Phoebe,
We got to Phoebe, who has her hand over her heart.
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. This, the place where I kept all my secrets.
And then she holds out both of her arms impetuously, like, give them to me,
Gimme,
give
gimme.
me.
Yeah. She giggles, and Prue and Piper both give her a look that she questions.
She's like, what? And they're like,
Like,
Phoebe, you
You
can't.
can never keep
yeah.
a secret.
You secrets? What?
Yeah, and she totally disagrees. And then Piper's like, well, maybe that one about, Prue's surprise birthday party, meaning the party that was thrown at the end of the episode, Dead
Yeah.
Men Dating. And Prue's like, guess again.
Yeah.
Like, nope. But my favorite is then Piper hits Phoebe
She smacks her.
with another toy from the box. I was like, you swore you wouldn't tell her. And Phoebe, of course, apologizes, saying that it was an accident, which gets a sigh from Piper because,
Yeah.
And Phoebe says that she thinks they should keep all of the toys, and Prue calls her a subject changer, which I thought was
For
kind of
our
funny.
children.
Yes.
For our
Our
future.
future.
Which is a great log line for some political ad
Yes.
or whatnot.
Yeah. And Piper
Especially the way
agrees.
she says it.
Yeah. And Piper agrees while pulling yet another doll out of the box. But Prue says that they can get rid of all of her toys, which, of course, gets stares from Piper and Phoebe. And Prue says that they live in a world with violence and evil demons, so it's a pretty scary place to raise kids in. And besides, she doesn't really think she's cut out to be a mom.
Which, I worry about people who say statements like that. Like, not cut out. Like, there's a difference between, like, I don't really want kids, and,
I don't
like,
think I could be a mom.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't think it's possible for me to be a mom. Like, it's a sort of slight emotional difference between I don't think kids are the best thing for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I am not the best thing for kids.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
And it makes me a little sad, which I know is the emotion they're going for. Like,
Yeah.
You're not cut out to be... And of course, Piper and Phoebe just look at her like,
how can
are you
say
fucking
that?
kidding us?
Yeah.
You raised us, like, what's your deal?
Exactly. Well, and but then Prue says they should have this conversation later.
Like say 5
years. And Piper reluctantly agrees, puts the doll on the table, and then hears a buzzer go off downstairs.
It says, dinner's burning.
Yeah. And
Phoebe,
asks
help
Phoebe
me.
for some reason.
Yeah.
To
like
lend a
Prue
hand.
is still moving shit.
Well, she jumps over the box to leave. And we get a continuity error because when we get the overhead shot, she had put the doll down on the table, but in the overhead shot, the doll is not on the table.
Uh-huh.
Just saying. And then Phoebe gets up, tells Prue not to look in her diaries, and then adorably makes her way out of the attic.
Waddling.
I swear.
You know how you do when you've got the spacers
thing.
in between your toes, and your toes are painted, and you're trying to let them dry, and she just kind of, like, waddles out. Like, she's wearing heels backwards.
Yeah, it was super funny. But I wonder if this is the reason why Piper wanted Phoebe to help with dinner, just so we could see Phoebe walk funny. Or so that she could tell Prue not to read her diaries. Because there's literally no reason.
I think it's both.
Yeah, it might have been both. But there was literally no other reason.
It's just an a la convenience funny moment.
Yeah, because having the person who's just painted their nails have to now run downstairs and help with dinner, like, it's just...
Yeah.
But then we cut to our next location, which is MJ's auto house. Not auto shop. Auto house.
House.
Yeah.
So it's like a smart house, right?
No.
That's another movie I need to watch again. Katie Sagal.
Yep, I remember
that one kid from the Disney movies. Actually, the two kids. There's a weird trope in, like, early aughts Disney movies where if the protagonist is a boy, the mother is obsessed with health food that she cannot cook properly.
Okay.
It's happened in more than 3 movies. It's a little disconcerting.
Okay.
Like, when they had the Memorial Day marathon of all the Disney Channel movies, because they were showing, like, the 100th one or something, which was a revamp of Adventures in Babysitting.
They remade that?
Yep.
Oh, I used to love that movie. Vincent
it's on Netflix.
D'Onofrio was
It's on
in that
Netflix.
movie.
It's on Netflix. You'll get to see Thor in all of his glory.
I mean, how could you not like Vincent D'Onofrio as Thor?
Yeah, and it's set in Chicago. Like, hello. You get the Diamond Building. But at any rate, I taped all of the ones I could remember having seen and liked, and a few of the other ones that I hadn't seen but had wanted to see. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, more than 3 of them had that trope.
Interesting.
Like, all of the ones with the boy main characters. It didn't happen with the girls. I don't know why. I don't know why it's such a specific thing. Like, it's always, oh, your mom's making insert ridiculously healthy food here.
Yeah.
And they all cringe. And then when they eat it, they pretend like they like it.
I don't know.
It's so specific. I don't understand what was going on.
All right. So, MJ's auto house and the ski mask dudes, who are no longer wearing their ski masks, enter with Max, who is gagged and has his hands tied in front of him and now has his jacket on. And the one without facial hair pushes Max to the ground, and the one with facial hair tells Max that if he tries anything, he's dead, and so is his old man. And of course, he nods in understanding. And Clean Cut Dude tells the other one to ease up on Max. And we learn that facial hair dude is named Mickey. Mickey is played by Bradford Tatum.
Any relation to Channing?
I don't know, actually. Hold on.
Because Tatum is a weird enough last name, it could be.
I didn't think to look that up.
How did you not?
I don't know.
Granted, I am wearing 3 of Channing Tatum on myself, so, because it's a 3-wolf moon. Mm-hmm. Or it's a 3-wolf hybrid moon. I don't think he is. They don't really look alike.
No, doesn't say anything about him. Oh, but he's been married since 1997 to the same woman.
Oh.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't look like he's related to Channing Tatum at all.
Darn.
But he was in the credits of this episode as Brad. Because, you know, when your name is Bradford, I would go by Brad as well. But yeah, so Bradford Tatum has been in a bunch of other stuff. Like, he has had a single episode of a bunch of different shows that I watch. So he looked super familiar. And he was in the movie Powder, which, if you haven't seen it, is an amazing movie.
Is that about snowboarding?
No.
Skiing?
No.
Coke?
Nope.
Snow at all?
Nope.
Okay, what's it about?
How do
Powder
I
puff
explain
football?
Powder? Nope.
Maltodextrin?
No. It's about a young, bald albino boy with unique powers who shakes up the rural community that he lives in. Summary aside, it is an amazing movie. It's like a drama, fantasy, mystery, crazy thing. It's like 2 hours long, but it's amazing. But yeah, so he was in Powder. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Just saying. Find it. I don't know if it's on Netflix. I didn't look. Not gonna bother. But yeah. So yeah, Clean Cut Dude tells Mickey to lay off, and he says that the kid's not stupid and he's gonna do everything they tell him to do. And Max, of course, shakes his head in agreement to both of those statements. And Mickey tells Clean Cut Dude that he'd better be right about Max or they got problems. Clean Cut Dude says that Max is a living, breathing, winning lotto ticket because his kid brother said that somehow, like magic, Max turned off the arcade alarm system from across the street and got them inside. Mickey, of course, says he doesn't believe in magic, and Clean Cut Dude says they'll test him out, and if they don't like what they see, they can cut their losses. And they leave, and Max closes his eyes and slowly starts rocking back and forth.
And then we cut
back to the attic.
Where Prue is sitting with the Ouija board.
Yep, the spirit board.
The spirit board. And a pen and paper. And
randomly happens to have a pen and paper.
Well, she wasn't writing in Phoebe's diaries. It calls for Prue and Phoebe to get their asses up there.
Yep.
And
my favorite is Phoebe goes, "What is it?" Prue points to the spirit board, which makes Phoebe just sigh, but Piper jumps back with a, "Oh no, not again." Which was just adorable.
Yeah.
And then Phoebe asks what it's saying, and Prue shows them the notepad that says, "Help Max."
Mm-hmm.
And we go to the opening credits. I was very excited to see that Daryl was in this episode because I forgot he was in this episode.
Yay.
And he doesn't show up for a while.
He's barely in it.
Yeah, he's barely in. He's got one little scene toward the end, but I was excited that he was in the credits. After the opening credits, we get some bridge shots, an overhead of the Triangle Building.
And a lot of boats.
Yeah. Coit Tower.
A lot of boats.
We get a Coit Tower overhead shot.
So many marina shots.
And then Coit Tower in the background of the boat docked by the water.
And
some boats going past Alcatraz.
Yes,
which
Alcatraz.
I think was the first time we've seen that shot, because I don't remember that before.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a shot of Castagnola's restaurant, which makes me wonder if they paid for advertising, because it was, like, predominant. And then a street shot that starts at the Triangle Building and pans over to a streetcar coming up the road, brings our total up to 17. And then we get the shot of the two streetcars going past each other, so now our total's up to 19.
Yay!
Wow. 3 streetcars in, like, 2 seconds. I love this episode.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, so the opening song on DVD is Shimmer by Fuel. The opening song on Netflix was Your Love by Aaron Pashka from the album Black Magic. Because, you know.
They apparently, whoever did this, decided that they would keep a thread. There would be one thing relating whatever song they chose to the show somehow.
Yeah, which is, that's
hilarious.
Fine. Yeah.
As opposed to you just, going by, okay, does this fit the mood of what we're going for?
Yeah, I don't know. And then we get an exterior shot of the manor, looking from the stairs, but no little swan thing.
No, sad face.
Now I keep, looking for it. We actually get a split second of it later.
Oh, be still my heart.
Yep, split second. And Phoebe and Prue walk into the room with the cafe table. That's the parlor, right? Mm-hmm. That's the parlor.
I think that's the sunroom.
Yeah, the parlor.
That's not the parlor. The parlor's at the front of the house. Parlors are at the front of the house because they're receiving rooms.
I don't know. There's so many rooms in this fucking house.
Mm-hmm.
It's the room with the cafe table.
The parlor is, in the middle. There's, the living room, the conservatory, the sunroom, which is attached to the conservatory, just kind of, around the corner, and then into the dining room and kitchen.
And where's the solarium?
The solarium is also the conservatory.
Yeah, see, it's the room with the cafe table. Whatever. It really doesn't matter what room
it's the breakfast nook.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, the breakfast nook is in the kitchen.
Yeah, I was going to say the breakfast nook is...
Because it's so many tables.
Yeah.
There's so many tables in this house.
Yep.
They all get broken at one point. I think.
Mm.
I feel like they do. There's a lot of smashy smash in this show.
Yeah.
Not a lot right now. The next couple episodes.
No, I'm actually surprised we are 14 episodes in and there has been a surprising lack of...
Smashy smash.
Annihilation of things.
Other than the attic door.
Yeah, and that only happened in the first couple of episodes.
It'll happen more.
Yeah.
We haven't kept a tally because it hasn't happened lately, but you're going to keep the tally?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
The attic door annihilation tally so far stands at 2. I have a note that has tallies.
Nice.
Right now I have attic door annihilation at 2 and streetcars now at 19.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited. Anyway, So Phoebe and Prue walk into the room with the cafe table, whatever room that happens to be, and they're carrying the spirit board. They sit down at the table, and Phoebe is now in a pink, long-sleeve, zip-up hoodie that's just a little too long to be a crop top, but also too short to completely cover her stomach.
It, like, reaches just to her waistband
it's like,
until she starts sitting down.
Yeah, it's like the second she moves, it's like, oh, I want to be a crop top. Please let me be a crop top. Like, it's trying to creep its way up.
Yeah.
And she has dark jeans and a black belt. And Prue is in a grayish-blue sweater set.
Yeah.
And black pants.
And Piper's in her customary black pants, white 3/4 sleeve thing.
Yeah, we haven't seen Piper yet, so I hadn't gotten to her.
She appears in the next couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Just letting you know what her outfit is, because it's
very,
usual.
It's very much the Wendigo episode outfit.
It's her every episode outfit now.
But she's pacing in the background on the phone. But we'll get there in a second. Phoebe thinks that Max might be a ghost because the message came through the spirit board.
And Prue, for some odd reason, is like, why would a ghost need our help?
Yeah.
Which happened before.
Yeah,
and
Phoebe reminds her that it wasn't the first time, and that's completely true. And this is now the second mention of that episode, because the ghost that needed their help was in Dead Men Dating.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that they do mention past things that we've seen sometimes, just not the stuff that I actually wish they'd mention. I still wish that they'd get a postcard from Aviva at college. You know? Like something.
Mm-hmm.
Because then after this episode, we never hear from Max again either. Like, I want throwbacks, you know? I want little buttons of, oh, hey, the very first male witch that they ever met was this little kid, and he was trying to deal, and, you know, you don't have to bring him back. Like, we don't have to see him in three seasons' time of now he's in high school or whatever. Just a little note to say that he still exists.
Yeah.
You know? Be nice. But I digress.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be a plot point.
Exactly.
Just a thing.
Exactly. Like, you know, they're getting the mail and it's, oh, we got a postcard from Max. Or, oh, we got a letter from Aviva. You know, she got into Harvard. You know, something. Just a little throwaway line. It's all I need. It's all I want. But I'll never get it. Because the show is gone.
No.
But I digress. So Prue thinks that it may be someone in trouble crying out. And Phoebe says that it would have to be someone with powers because the spirit board isn't exactly AT&T. Which made me laugh.
Yeah, that was a good joke.
Prue, of course, says that help Max isn't a lot to go on, and Phoebe agrees because there's nothing that they can do unless he sends another message. And she asks Piper, who is still pacing, if she's on hold, and Piper says that the new chef at Quake, Harry, threw out all of her Henkel knives because apparently he prefers Forstners.
Which makes perfect sense to me, because I sold knives for a little bit.
Okay.
And in the, like, introduction packet, like, in our, like, whole spiel, we have to do this thing about, like, these other couple of brands, and Henkel was one of them, and I think Forstner was, like, a footnote or something, we didn't actually mention it, but, like, oh, like, you know, price comparisons and warranty comparisons and whatnot.
But I thought it was funny that Phoebe asked Prue if she followed any of that, and Prue's like, nope.
No, they both look at each other and like, nope, and then they immediately turn back to their conversation.
Yep, like
this.
Okay,
this
we're
clearly,
done with this.
like, we don't care. This didn't happen. We're going to talk back to what we were talking about.
Yep, like, this means nothing to us. This has nothing to do with us. We're just going to ignore her. I didn't even bother to look up the knives.
Yeah, Henkel is a really big brand.
Okay.
They have a couple of divisions as well.
Okay.
But
I'll take your word for it.
Like, I mean, it's interesting because you never think about knife brands until you're buying knives.
Yeah.
Or, like, you're selling them like me. So I always notice knife brands now. And if there's a Cutco knife, I'm like, hey, Cutco. Because the handles are pretty distinctive.
Okay.
They're made of, like, bowling ball material.
Interesting. See, what I always see is, thanks to my mother and the jobs that she has had, I now see Dell computers everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Because she worked at a company that got bought out by Dell.
Oh, okay.
So she worked technically then for Dell for a while there. But now it is Warner Ladders.
Oh, cool.
So Warner Ladders and Keller Ladders and Greenbow Ladders and WeatherGuard boxes.
Oh, another thing of mine
Knack
was
boxes.
when I was in production printing at my high school. So, like, we do the programs for whatever school events are happening, and we also do T-shirts for, like, the sports teams or, you know, like, clubs or whatnot. Gildan is the company we get all of the t-shirts from.
Yeah, I've actually
And
heard
until
of them.
until you like are actually buying bulk blank t-shirts, you may not hear of them.
Uh-huh.
And then you do, and you're like, oh yeah, these are great. They're like, cotton polyblend, like they're really good. And then you hear if like Hanes doesn't actually sell really good bulk t-shirts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Gildan's a good way to go if you ever need to do that. If we ever need to do that.
Well, all I can say is that I hope one day that we will need to do that.
And if we do, it's gonna be a black t-shirt.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing white.
No.
No fucking way.
Well, we might at some point have a limited edition run of white shirts.
I don't wear white shirts though. I
Well,
wouldn't
we
want
don't. We don't have to wear them.
Yeah, but if
Other people can wear.
we're
white
distributing
shirts.
shirts, like
Okay.
maybe it'll be an option to have a white shirt, but I'm not gonna sell a white shirt if I'm not gonna wear a white shirt.
Well, there's a lot of things that I would sell that I wouldn't wear.
True.
So, all I gotta say is if we ever do get shirts, they will go up to at least 3X.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
As I look over at my 2X shirt that we had to doctor so it would actually fit over my boobs.
Yeah.
My 3X sweater that is not really a 3X. Fucking torrid. But I digress.
Well, I mean, is Torrid to blame or is the industry?
Oh, well, the industry is completely to blame. I mean, the sizes of women's clothes depend on,
The phases of the moon, and whether you
and-
looked at a cupcake recently.
Yeah. No, it was a picture of a chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The phases of the moon, your star sign, and whether or not you've looked at a picture of a chicken recently.
Which, oddly enough, is also your password requirements.
Huh?
Like Blood of Virgin, Phase of the Moon, your star sign. Both are ridiculous.
Okay.
Just go with it. It's a joke. Just let me be funny.
No, the password one is the...
The cow is white as milk.
No.
Cape is red as blood. Well, no, someone did that, though.
Oh, no.
Like, right when the Out of the Woods movie came out,
Yeah.
like, cow is white as milk, cape is red as blood, hair is yellow as corn.
Yeah. I don't remember it. No, the password joke that I always remember is the one where it's the person who's typing the password, and they put in, like, cabbage. And it was, must include a number. I was, okay. 58 cabbages. Must include an uppercase letter. And so, like, literally it's going through this whole thing, and it finally comes through with, he had to keep adding all of these things, and the password finally comes down to as, stick 58 cabbages up your fucking ass, whatever, right? And then the message pops and goes, must not be a password you've already used. Which made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the show. So, Prue says that they wouldn't have gotten the message if it wasn't important, and Phoebe agrees, and she asks what Prue wants to do, and Prue says that she might go see Andy and find out if he knows anything about a Max needing help. And Phoebe, of course, is like, long shot? But Prue gives Phoebe a look, and Phoebe gives in and accepts that Prue is obsessed, and says that she'll thumb through the Book of Shadows to see if there's anything in there about spirit board SOSs. And Prue starts to say something about Piper doing something when Piper, who is still on the phone going on about knives, gets hung up on. It's like, that jerk hung up on me. And then she slams the phone down on the table.
Phoebe jumps a little bit and goes, oh!
Yeah. And then she goes, so how can I help you?
Well, she puts her hands on her hips and very coolly says, so, how can I help you ladies today?
Yeah.
And they're both just like, we'll
we
take
got it
care
under
of
control.
it.
We're
We're
good.
fine.
We're
Don't
good.
worry about it.
And so Piper says that she's going to go to Quake before Harry can do any more damage.
It's a bit of a
And
hairy
she leaves.
situation.
Yeah. And of course then Prue gives Phoebe a, like, WTF kind of look that makes Phoebe giggle. It was a cute sister moment. It was great.
CFM.
Yep. Do you know, it really kind of saddens me that CSM doesn't actually work so well as a hashtag on Twitter, because there's other things that come up as CSM. I'm really sad about it.
I know there's CSIM. What else comes up as CSM? Connecticut state motto?
I'm assuming that it has
Coroners sound manly.
something... What?
Coroners sound manly.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. No, I assume it's something not English, because most of the things that I see that have CSM are in some form of either Spanish
Portuguese?
or possibly...
Let me see. Yeah, it's an abbreviation for a phrase.
Yeah.
In Spanish.
Yeah. Or one of the Asian dialects for some fucking reason.
Hello, Japanese.
So then we cut to the foyer, and Piper grabs her coat and opens the door, and Leo's there in a white shirt, plaid shirt, and tan jacket.
Mm-hmm. No floral skirt?
No floral skirt. And he says, ding dong! And they both laugh. And Piper seems happy to see him and gives him a hug and asks how he is. And he replies, better now. And they stop hugging, and he asks how she is, and she replies, better now, too. So sweet. Love him so much.
Adorable. Isn't it adorable, Blue?
Yeah. And Phoebe and Prue, who is carrying the spirit board end pointer, enter from behind, and we can kind of now see Phoebe's bra through her top. I swear to God, sheer fabric was all the rage in the 90s. So weird, but at least she was wearing a bra.
This is true.
Just saying. And Phoebe calls out to him, and we see Piper get this little, like, why are you ruining the mood look on her face. It was cute. So cute. And Prue says that it's good to see him, and Phoebe asks what brings him back, with a bit of the raised eyebrows, indicating, that she thinks it was Piper that brought him back. Prue, of course, then tries to big sister her, and Phoebe, knock it off, that kind of thing. And Phoebe mentions that the chandelier in the living room keeps flickering.
Because if she can't hint at, oh hey, you two are in together, she's definitely going to try and manhandle him into just being there.
Exactly. And so he says, he'll go get his tools, and she's like, oh, take your time. Which, just the way she says it was just great. It's like, don't even worry. Just take your time. And Prue then reminds Phoebe that she has some reading to do in the attic, so she leaves. And Leo notices the spirit board and asks Prue about it, and Prue, of course, falters a moment before saying that she's taking it to the auction house to have it appraised, because that is her go-to lie.
Yeah, and let's face it, weird thing in the house. How do you explain it? Oh, I work at an auction house.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good go-to.
Yeah. Or you could, not lie and say it was your mother's, we found it in the attic. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
They lie about random crap that
Yeah.
there's no reason to lie about in this show sometimes.
Well, I mean, when you get into a rut with the whole compulsive lying thing, you're not sure what's going to be accepted to people, so you just try and make it seem as mundane as possible and not connected to you.
I guess so. But so she grabs her coat, tells Piper to call if she hears anything, and she leaves. And Piper tells her that she'll be at the restaurant, and Leo then asks, of course, if she has to leave right then, and she says that she does, but promises to be back soon, and asks him to wait. And he says he will, and they kiss. And I still love their kisses. They look like they have actual passion behind them. They're my true OTP, these two. Love them so much. And when they finish kissing, Piper gives that adorable, ooh.
Yeah.
And says that she's so glad he's back, and then she leaves. And Leo looks a little sad as we linger on him for just a moment. Before we cut to the police station.
Yep.
And Prue is sitting at Andy's desk. He is in a black suit, blue shirt, and red tie with yellow patterning, which kind of looked like equal signs with
I don't remember it offhand.
it was an interesting, I don't know, interesting to me. I enjoy tie patterns. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm weird. So Andy's trying to wrap his head around what Prue has told him about Max. That he might be in some kind of trouble, but she has no idea why. She's never met him, and has no idea who he is.
And then asks her to explain how exactly it is she came to this conclusion that someone named Max needs help. And she decides to lie and tell him she had a weird dream.
Yeah.
And she's trying to laugh it off too, see how silly this is.
Yeah. No, but my favorite is she tells him that she had this dream, and then she basically tells him what actually happened of the Ouija board, this Ouija-type board, and the pointer started to move, spelled out help Max, and then she looks at him expectantly for a couple of seconds, and is like, that's it.
Yeah.
He has this moment of okay, I'll ignore the crazy that's happening with this girl that I like and see what I can do. Which is just great. And he types Max into the computer and presses enter. And we get an insert shot of the computer. And we can see that he's in the missing persons database. And we also see that there is a name already on the screen. And there's a social security number written there that starts with 613. And I looked it up. And that is one of the numbers that California gets. But it's missing a number at the end. So that means it's safe, right?
Never mind that, there are going to be, 9 numbers you could use and find someone's social security number?
10, technically. Zeros count.
Really? You could use a 0 at the end?
I think so. Well, but that number, the missing number could be from anywhere.
Oh, true.
In the thing. So it
it didn't come with dashes?
Well, it did. But that doesn't mean that they didn't, take out the 4th number and move them down, But it's only missing one number. But whatever. The funnier part is that it looks like you can see that he's using a website, which is sfpd.org. I looked it up. It doesn't exist. But ssfpd.org brings you to ssf.net, which is a page for the city of South San Francisco, which I didn't know it was its own place.
That's
You
funny.
learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Andy says that he hears lots of stories in his line of work, but hers are always very entertaining. And she says thank you, and he says you're welcome. And then, his computer beeps, and he apologizes that there's nothing on anyone named Max. And she thanks him for checking, and he replies, anytime. And then they stare at each other a moment before Prue giggles nervously, and then they say their goodbyes, and she leaves. But, they have this, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Bye. I should go now.
This is kind of back to that vibe right after they first had sex again.
Yeah, it was a little awkward. It was a little weird. And I don't know how I feel
awkward?
about it. It wasn't horrible, but, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
It was just a little weird.
Because, the vibe before, third episode? Was hey, we're just trying to find the stable ground. We're dating again. This is kind of funny and awkward. we haven't known each other for a while. And now it's like that, except they're not dating and they're not really trying to.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Right, Blue? He's a slipper pupper.
He's a very slipper puppy. He doesn't want his head covered for some reason. It happens.
There.
Well, now you look like you're nursing a baby.
I was just about to say. I've doctored your shirt. I'm nursing my dog.
There you go.
But
Anyway. So, Prue leaves. We cut to a quick exterior shot. And as a car drives by, we see Feathers in Her Hair Lady just heading off screen to the left, but no one else that we recognize in the shot.
No tan jacket, floral skirt, lady.
Nope, not in this scene. Piper bursts through the kitchen doors, now wearing a gray jacket over her outfit, and angrily calls out for Harry. And Harry, who is cooking and holding a phone while wearing a white chef coat and shorts. I'll get back to his outfit in a moment when we get a better look at it.
I was about to ask what's on the shorts, because I don't remember.
I will get back to that, yep. He calls her Pippi.
Ugh.
And she corrects him. And then he says that her voice doesn't do justice because she's actually attractive. And of course, Piper reacts of you dick, kind of that look on her face. But this is my note. What a dick. He's been given a name in more than one line. I hope he dies. I legit couldn't remember how this episode ended, but that was my note.
Yep.
Piper tells him that he can't come into the restaurant, throw away all of their knives, and refuse to make the house specialty. And then she notices what he's wearing and tells him that it's not a proper chef's uniform, but he says it will be because he's a trendsetter.
Ugh.
So good. Back to the outfit.
Just, this man just, we don't have smell-o-vision, and he reeks of entitlement.
Yeah, he reeks of something, all right. His
Crab.
His shorts have a cooking-themed pattern on them. Pans, tongs, knives, etc. He has scrunched-down tube socks.
Aren't they
that
red?
Are white tube socks with a red line around the top, but they are scrunched down.
Uh-huh.
And clogs.
Slip-on
clogs.
clogs.
Heels exposed clogs.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll just let you sit with that imagery for a moment. Oh, wait. You don't have to sit with it. There's a picture on the website.
Yep.
Yeah. So
you can sit and look at it.
Yeah. You can stare at it and be like, what a dick.
Yeah, I do think the outfit was probably a little inspired by Mario Batali.
Possibly.
The attitude, I don't know. They're just can we make him more of a dick than Gordon Ramsay? Which Gordon Ramsay is not a dick.
Gordon Ramsay, see, I have mixed feelings about Gordon Ramsay. I can deal with Gordon Ramsay when he's talking to children because he doesn't yell. I cannot deal with Gordon Ramsay when he yells at people because he often is yelling for no real reason.
My feeling with when he's dealing with adults is, if they're running a restaurant or some kind of food establishment, they really ought to know better than whatever they're doing. Whereas the kids, they're still learning, and he's very sweet to kids, and I love it. It breaks my heart when he replied to the one person on Twitter about the, egg souffle they made. He said it was excellent. Oh my god, thank you.
That's beautiful.
I love Gordon Ramsay. I just don't watch the shows where he's dealing with adults.
Yeah. The only one that I can kind of sometimes watch is the one where he helps the restaurants get better. Is that Kitchen Nightmares?
I think so.
I think that might be. I haven't watched.
But
it
also,
in a very
like
long time.
the UK versions of his shows are very different from.
Yeah, I
from
like
the US.
UK versions where he doesn't scream as much. He gets mad at people.
Well, that's because
and he tells them they're fucking stupid.
It's mostly with the editing.
Yeah.
Like, the editing in the US, they're like, let's make this as sensational as possible, so let's have him literally yelling about everything that's wrong.
Yeah, I can't deal with people yelling like that.
There was the one, I don't know which version this was, but there was the one episode where he ordered his food and was sitting there for like 2 hours waiting for it.
Oh, God,
just sitting at the table, he took a nap.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Oh my God.
I remember that. But for me, I always like the episodes when he goes back and does like a where are they now kind of thing.
Yeah.
To see if they're still around.
Because a lot of those end up shutting down.
They do.
They don't really take anything to heart,
or the changes,
or they're just unable to keep up.
Yeah, I think it's that they're unable to keep up with it. Anyway, so back to Harry the Trendsetter. He gets a colander full of ravioli and says that because he decided to change the menu, he threw out all of the old ones, and that his crab ravioli is a specialty. He sniffs it and says it's straight from Eden. I will admit, it did look good.
The idea of it sounds good.
Yeah, lobster ravioli is amazing, but crab ravioli...
But something tells me it's gonna taste like dick.
No, the sad part is it's probably not.
Well, metaphorically.
Yeah.
It's gonna taste like metaphorical dick.
Yes. But Piper, who just now realizes that he said he threw out all the menus, questions him about it. And he tells her to complain to Phoebe, who's on line 1, and hands her the phone. She takes the phone from him and yells at him that he's fired, to which he says that she is attractive and feisty, and then leans in and quietly says that she can't fire him because she's just a manager, unless she'd rather be the executive chef. And he laughs and turns to do something on the opposite counter, and she gives a little ooh of annoyance. And then, in what is the first of many times that Piper will freeze someone out of annoyance, she freezes him.
And then dumps the ravioli.
She takes the knives out of the trash.
She takes the knives out of the trash, puts them in the block, and then dumps the ravioli in.
He's like, take that. Now, I get why she takes the knives out of the trash. But why does she take them out of the trash and then just leave them on the counter? What's to stop him from throwing them out again?
And furthermore, you should put them in the sink, because they need to be washed. They've been in the trash.
Yeah. There's that. But the line where he says, unless she'd rather be the executive chef, is like, yeah, she probably would. She's wanted to be a chef for fucking ever. Anyway, she leaves, he unfreezes, and gives like a little confused look, because she has walked away. And then we cut to the manor, where Phoebe is walking down the stairs with the phone in her hand. Phoebe says that he sounds like a real piece of work, but has a nice voice, and asks what he looks like. Then we cut back to Quake, and Piper is now sitting by the bar, and she says that he looks like a complete and total jerk, and then asks if Leo is around. And back to the manor, Phoebe says that he's working away, and then back to Quake, there is now commotion by the kitchen. And we hear Phoebe say that Leo wants to know when she's going to be back, and Piper says she might be a while, and that maybe she should talk to Leo. So we cut back to the manor, where Phoebe says sure and tells her to hold.
She walks toward where Leo is working. She walks into the living room to find Leo floating
by the chandelier.
Floating in midair, replacing a bulb in the chandelier, and the bulb is glowing.
In his hand. Yeah. She yells out, "Oh my God!" Leo sees her, calls out her name, and falls. Now, when Leo is floating, it is super clear that he's being held up by a harness.
Yes.
Like, stupid clear.
Yeah.
And when he crashes to the ground, you can tell that the floor under the rug has like a little cushion pad, like stuntmen use underneath it, so he doesn't hurt himself when he falls. Because it wasn't a stuntman, it was him.
Yep.
And Phoebe tells Piper that she'll call her back, hangs up the phone, and then holds it out like a knife with the antenna pointed toward Leo.
And he approaches her, holding the bulb in one hand.
Yeah, which is still glowing, and he comes toward her, he's like, I can explain, you know. And we hear an interesting sound effect every time we see the light bulb.
Like,
it's like a, it's kind of like a lightsaber noise.
Like a baby lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like a far away baby lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like just a whoom.
Vroom. Vroom. Like the Doppler effect.
Yes.
Yeah. She starts backing up. Leo follows her, and she's like, "You're a warlock." He's like, "No.
No, I'm not.
And then she only stops when she hits the table in the hall. And he tries to grab the phone and fails, but he still has the glowing bulb in his hand.
And he realizes it.
Well, he doesn't realize it just yet. He tells her to think about it, that if he were a warlock and he wanted to hurt her, that he probably would have done it the last time he was there.
Or, the first time he was there.
Yeah, and she says that's a good point, but that most normal handymen use ladders to fix chandeliers. And then she points the phone under his chin, again, like a knife, and asks if he's a witch. And he says no with a bit of a laugh. And she asks what he is, and as he falters for an answer, he waves the light bulb, which again, still glowing, in front of her, and now she finally notices it.
Just kind of gesturing, like, trying to find the words, but there's a light bulb going, woom, woom, woom.
Yeah. He hides the bulb from view, gives, like, a goofy smile, and she gives an equally goofy smile. And then, because we can't stay in one place too long, we cut to a boring-looking building and a black car in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bad guys and Max are in the car, and Clean Cut Dude is holding blueprints and telling Max the plan to break into the building, which is apparently a microchip plant, as you do, I guess. And Clean Cut Dude says that all Max has to do is switch the system off, but Max says that his mom made him promise to never use his power for bad things, so he can't do it. And Mickey asks if he's ever read the book When Bad Things Happen to Good People.
Like, yeah, that's the way to get him to calm down, Mickey.
Uh-huh. And Clean Cut Dude's like, he's got it. I got this. And he reminds Max that he broke into the arcade and says that this isn't any different and that they're not actually going to take anything. They just want to see if he can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says that he's really sorry about what happened to Max's mom, that it's a tough break, and that he wants to make sure that nothing happens to his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Which, is a subtle threat.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't know what happened to Max's mom. We're never told. We just find out later that she died. But we don't know how she died. They never tell us. So Max does his rock back and forth thing, and Clean Cut Dude signals to Mickey, who gets out of the car and goes over to the front door. And we see the control panel inside the microchip plant, and the little sliders go down.
Yeah.
And then it burns out.
Yeah, it just...
Yeah, he totally breaks it, which was just a little...
The fuse completely blows.
Yeah. Then we cut to Mickey, who's waiting by the door, by the card slot, to wait for it to turn green, and when it does, he opens the door and goes in, and when no alarms go off, he just goes, "Well, I'll be damned." Which, kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to the car, and Clean Cut Dude doesn't know how Max did it, but he's very impressed. And Mickey walks back out, apparently hasn't taken anything at all, and a security guy comes up to him and is all, "Hey!" and starts going for his weapon. And Mickey pulls out a gun and shoots him. Max then, in the car, of course, screams out, "No!" And Clean Cut Guy covers Max's mouth and looks around, probably to see if anyone heard the shot and is coming. And Mickey runs back to the car, and we get a commercial break.
Mm-hmm.
As you do. That'll be a fun little tangent to cut out. Patreon people, man. You support us on Patreon. You will get at least one every month.
Yep.
Of the most random tangent that we go on that for whatever reason cannot be put in the show, be it sound problems because we're eating or
Nom nom.
other reasons. But yeah, we talk about some interesting stuff that winds up on the cutting room floor. Like the 15 minutes of stuff that we were just talking about that you won't hear unless you become a patron on Patreon. Anyway, so now that we have plugged patreon.com/charmchats, back to the show. We come back from the commercial break with an exterior manor shot, and Leo and Phoebe are sitting on the wicker furniture this time, and this entire scene is a bit of exposition time, but it's a fun one. Phoebe is holding a mug and is saying that until today she thought he was just a handyman, but now knows that he's a white lighter. And then she asks, what exactly is a white lighter? And he says that they're just messengers or guides. And then when he realizes that she's still confused, he tells her to think of them as guardian angels for good witches.
And then he notices that her tea is cold.
He does indeed. And he leans forward
and puts his hand across the cup.
The mug, and then we see steam rising from the mug.
And Phoebe pulls one of her hands away because, now that's hot.
Yeah. And this is the first and only time he ever does this.
Well, it was the first and only time he ever healed the book.
Yeah, but that I don't necessarily have a problem with, because as we find out later in this episode, he can heal.
Mm-hmm.
So him healing the book, I was okay with, even though he doesn't necessarily heal another inanimate object. I didn't have a problem with that. But literally, he heats up her mug of tea, and then it never happens again. They never even allude to it again. Nothing. It just, he did it once, and then apparently he can't do it anymore. Never happens again. But whatever. But I do like that she comes back with, well, you are handy. Which was funny. Got a little smile from Leo, got a little laugh from me. It was nice. And we learned that he has known about them being witches all along, because he was sent to watch over them when they first got their powers and to help out wherever he could.
Including with the house.
Yes. But so what I want to know is, where was he for the first couple of months? You know, just saying.
Don't know. Well, he would have been first couple of weeks. He appeared in the 3rd episode.
Yeah, and that was at least a month.
Was it? It was still, like, pretty soon after they got their powers.
Yeah.
Like, I assume if he's part of some great bureaucratic supernatural organization, it still might take a little bit.
I guess. I don't know. Whatever. But, so, Phoebe says, sent by who? And he corrects her grammar and says whom, which made me laugh. And he says that they're a group of elder Whitelighters known as the Founders, and they were never supposed to find out, but that he screwed up and got caught. Now, so in this episode, he calls them the Founders, yet in every following episode, they're just called the Elders.
Yeah.
But apparently the comics, like season 9, 10, whatever, for the comic books,
Okay.
they do address that.
Okay.
They never address it in the actual show, but they were like, maybe we should give some reasoning here
Yeah.
in the comics. I have not read the comics.
Neither have I.
Though I have been trying to find possibly like an omnibus of the comics, because it'd be kind of cool to have that.
I agree.
But it does not look like there is an omnibus of the
darn.
comics. At least not on Amazon. I'll have to check my local comic book store and see if they have anything.
No omnibus.
Omnibus.
But maybe a multipass?
I was gonna say, I was like, Lilu Dallas Multipass? I love that we're both on the same page there. We're such nerds.
That's one of my favorite Gary Oldman movies.
Yeah. Anyway, so, back to the show. So he says that he screwed up and got caught, but he says it like he was found out before now, even though this is the first time that he's been found out. So, unless they're saying that when the girls were in the attic after their powers were restored, and Phoebe, like, vaguely questioned about Leo in the Book of Shadows as being caught, like, remember when she was all
Yeah,
like,
I remember.
you don't think he, meaning, like, Leo as she pointed to the Book of Shadows, like, that's the only...
Well, she got dismissed out of hand, but, maybe
Yeah, but
whoever
that's...
was having a listen.
So, whatever. Phoebe asks if he's here again to help them out with something else, but he says that he's actually there to help a boy named Max, the same one from the Spirit Board. And then we get a little bit of exposition time, and we learn that Max is a budding good witch, new to the powers, but that he's very young and vulnerable, and he's in serious trouble because someone wants to take advantage of his gift. No shit. Max is the first male witch to appear in the show.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the first witch that's a child that we get in the show.
That is actually a witch, yes.
Yeah, Aviva doesn't count.
Yeah.
As much as I like Aviva and wish we'd get a postcard from her, she doesn't count as a witch. So Phoebe asks why Leo doesn't help him, and Leo says that he did by making sure that Prue received his cry for help, and he says that that's why he was sent back, and that all he's supposed to do for now is give the cry for help, because the rest is up to Prue.
Mm-hmm.
And Phoebe says that Prue doesn't know anything about him, not even that he's a little boy, but Leo says that she will. And then he tells Phoebe that she must help him keep his secret, and that Piper and Prue can never know what he really is, or he could get into trouble.
And
now,
here's where Phoebe's...
Yeah, Phoebe gives a little smiling laugh, because she knows she's crap at keeping secrets.
Ooh,
it's like,
yeah.
Me? Keep a secret? Hello, Ron Halliwell.
Have you met me?
Yeah. But now, didn't he say that he was already found out? So, like, who found out about him before this? Like, how was he found out?
I don't...
Like,
It's
a little...
It's a little.
Yeah.
It's a little.
Yeah. Just a bit.
It'll be so very.
Yeah. But then she says that he has to tell Piper because of reasons. And he says that he knows and he needs her help. And then he gets out of his chair because apparently this bit can't be told without moving around. And he says that...
He's just so frustrated.
Yeah, and he says that Whitelighters and witches aren't allowed to fall in love, just like humans and angels aren't, but that he fell in love with Piper. And Phoebe says that she knows how much Piper cares about him. And he sighs and says that it isn't fair to keep her in the dark, but that he has to keep a secret. And then he sits back down because,
Yeah.
that bit is done.
Because he's emotionally exhausted himself and now must recline on super comfortable wicker furniture.
Uh-huh. And he says that somehow he has to tell Piper that he can never see her again, and he can't tell her why. And Phoebe says that he doesn't need her help, he needs a miracle. And then Leo makes the best face in this moment. I have put a picture of it on the website, but the picture doesn't do it justice, but it's close. It was great. It was a wonderful, wonderful
Leo
moment.
makes a few good faces in this episode.
He really does. This is the episode of faces. This is indeed the episode of faces. And then we cut to Buckland via exterior shot of the sign. We have brown suit lady walking by with the red umbrella lady. And there's also a man with an umbrella on his briefcase that walks by. And I think he might come back later.
Okay.
Not completely positive.
I trust your judgment.
Think so. In her office, Prue is typing on her laptop. And someone knocks on the door and then opens the door, which always annoys me that they just knock and then open. They don't wait for any sort of come in or who is it or anything. They just knock and then open. Annoys me. But it's Andy. He asks if she's got a minute. She says sure. And as he closes the door...
She moves the spirit board from the top of the desk onto an open drawer.
Yeah, so that he can't see it. And he walks up to the desk and she tells him to sit in the chair that's on that side of the desk. It just... I don't know why, but this entire scene just feels awkward.
Because it is.
Like, I don't understand why.
There isn't always a why with this show.
Yeah.
There isn't even always a why in the story.
True. So Andy says that he got some interesting information about a boy named Max, and we have a cute back and forth from them, where Prue's like, a boy? He's like, named Max, yes. She goes, whoa. Curious, huh? Very. It was like the back and forth was funny. It was
she did a good job of making it seem like this was just a really weird coincidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as Andy talks, the pointer on the spirit board
starts moving again.
Starts moving. It's a good thing she hid it from view then, isn't it?
Yeah.
A la convenience, one might say.
One might.
Uh-huh.
And two might.
Uh-huh.
Two might.
Yeah. Andy says that a microchip plant was broken into, but that nothing was taken. And Prue now sees the pointer moving on the spirit board and starts to write down the message. Now, I don't know if it's a continuity error, but the pen that she's holding looks like a normal ballpoint pen, but it writes like a felt tip marker. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like, the pen that she has in her hand looks like there's a little ballpoint tip on it, and yet when you see what's written on the page as she's writing it, it is thick black lines.
Yeah, very thick.
Yeah. So
thick.
I don't know if that's a continuity error or just they tried it in pen and for some reason
it didn't show up well.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. And then Andy continues saying that what's stranger still is that the alarms were turned off before the front door was opened. And Prue asks what it has to do with Max, and Andy says that the security cameras picked up a car in the parking lot with a boy in the back seat, matching a photo that was taken at an arcade where a couple of kids snuck in, and the boy's name is Max Franklin. And he shows her a picture of Max and another boy, which is a lovely black and white printout.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not an actual picture.
And the angle's interesting because he's playing with a pinball machine.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like the camera is on top of the pinball machine.
It looks like it's in the pinball machine. Like, the angle is not high enough to be, like, sitting on top of the pinball machine. Because also, isn't he kind of looking, like, right at it?
Oh, yeah, he's looking directly at it.
Yeah, it looks...
And the other boy is turned around to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like he's inside the pinball machine. Which, honestly, would be a good place to put a random security camera in your arcade.
Very true. It would
Because, like, even if for some odd reason someone's going to try and, like, disable all the cameras by throwing rocks or, like, shooting them or whatnot, they're not going to shoot the pinball machines.
Yeah, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Headcanon accepted. So, he shows her the picture, and she distractedly asks if he knows who's in the front seat, but he shakes his head no. And then he says that they shot and wounded a security guard at the scene. So it's good to know that he's not dead. He didn't even get a name.
Yeah. Well, he can't die unless he has a name.
Yeah. He did have a line, though.
Was it like, hey, you?
Yeah, it was hey. Yeah. Single line. So, anyway, Andy says that the boy's in serious trouble, and then he says that this is not a dream, which is referring back to her statement at the police station. And he leans closer, saying he needs to know what she knows about this, but she asks why she would know anything, and tells him to talk to Max's family. He then leans back in the chair and says that his father pretended not to know anything either, claiming that Max was out of state visiting grandparents and would be back tomorrow. But Andy could tell that something was wrong, that he wanted to tell him something, but was scared. He then notices that she's been writing and asks what she's writing, and she looks up after completing the message and
she's
says...
just like, I'm doodling.
Yeah, just doodling. But she says it while she's blinking, like, madly, which is a sure sign of lying.
Well, also, it's a thing Shannon does sometimes.
Yeah. And Andy realizes that she's not going to tell him anything and says as much, and stands up. And then he says that one day he's going to find out her secret, and he leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And Prue looks at the message, and it reads, "Kidnapped. Auto shop."
Which is a very efficient message, really.
Yeah, and then we cut to the kitchen in Quake. No establishing shot at all. And Piper is washing her knives, and a guy in a vest brings her the phone, and he gets one word, telephone, which means he probably got a SAG card. Good for him. And Piper takes it as he leaves and says hello. And then we cut to Prue's office, where Prue tells her that Max is a boy and he's been kidnapped. And we cut back and forth between them for this conversation. Piper asks, "What?" And Prue says that she's got another message from the spirit board and has to help. And Piper, of course, thinks they should call the police, but Prue says that Andy's already been to her office and she thinks she has an idea of what to do. So then we cut back to Piper in Quake, and she asks Prue, she says, so you've got everything under control? And Harry comes up, grabs the phone from her, saying that everything's not under control, and he tosses the phone into the metal sink, which luckily didn't have water in it. And
Very luckily.
Yeah. And we get a quick shot of Prue hearing the sound of the phone clanking before it cuts back to him saying that he needs more crab for his ravioli because someone threw it all away and he just got 5 more orders. Oh, and he calls her Pepper this time. And then he tosses the orders at her and she catches all but one of them.
Good on her.
Uh-huh. And then in my notes I wrote, I really hope something bad happens to him in his stupid shorts and clogs. I honestly don't remember how this one ends. And we cut to what we now know is the Franklin house, and Prue's little black convertible is parked on the street, and I am now convinced that the car that she had for that one episode that wasn't this car was like a rental car or something, while this one was in the shop. It's my headcanon, I'm going with it. Prue walks up to the door, rings the bell, and Mr. Franklin answers, and he now has a Band-Aid on his face. She's added a black suede jacket to her outfit. Kind of swanky, kind of like it. But it also looks like she might have taken off the sweater of the sweater set.
Yeah.
Because it didn't look like it was underneath the jacket.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true. Could be completely wrong.
I don't know.
But, I don't know. She introduces herself and says that she needs to talk to him about his son, but he says that she needs to leave. And she says that she knows that he's been kidnapped and he's in trouble. And Mr. Franklin says that he doesn't know what she's talking about, but she says that she thinks he does, but doesn't understand why he won't talk to the police. I wonder. Yeah. So he begs her to leave again and tries to close the door, but she holds it open. And then she realizes that he can't talk to the police because the kidnappers won't let him. And he starts to try to get her to leave again, but she says that she can help. He, of course, says that she can't and tries to close the door again. And once again, Prue holds it open, but this time she uses her power to send a picture flying directly into his hands. He catches it and gives the lovely response of, "Dear God." And we cut back to Quake.
And it's really cute, because clearly it was just like, someone tied an invisible string to it and lifted it up and dropped it in his hands.
Yep.
It was adorable.
It was cute. So we get an exterior shot of Quake this time, and Tan Jacket Floral Skirt Lady is here, walking in with another lady. Feathers in Her Hair Lady is walking with the umbrella briefcase guy from earlier, but he doesn't have his briefcase this time. He just has the umbrella. And Brown Suit Lady is working the desk again. My favorite scene ever is coming up at Quake. Like, this scene that we were about to watch is my favorite scene ever with Leo and Phoebe in the entirety of the first season.
Aww.
I love it so much.
That's adorable.
So much. Phoebe and Leo are sitting in front in Quake at a table, and Leo puts his hand over a glass of water and fills it up. Again,
another trick we never see again.
Yep, first and only time he does this. And you can also tell that it's fake ice because it's sunk to the bottom of the glass, One piece does move around, but that's only because of the air bubbles when the glass is being filled.
Yeah.
And Phoebe thanks him, and then Piper comes out to them, and she says hi, that she knows they've been waiting a long time, and there's a crash in the kitchen, which makes Phoebe laugh a little. And Phoebe asks if she heard from Prue, and Piper says that she has, and that she's got everything under control, and then excuses herself to go back to the kitchen. And Phoebe says that it's actually good that they have a few more minutes to go over Leo's plan to tell Piper.
And then Leo proceeds to provide Phoebe with a few options that are all horrible, and Phoebe provides translations. The first option Leo comes up with is
that he thought he'd tell her that as much as he loves her and wants to stay in San Francisco, he can't, and he doesn't know how long his work will keep him away.
For which the translation is
that as much as he'd like to stay and have sex with her, he's got a wife and kids in another part of the country. And then she tells him to try again.
So his next option is,
you know how much you mean to me, and more than anything, I wish things could work out, but they can't, and no one is more sorry than I am.
Translation?
I found someone even better. And of course that completely confuses Leo. And then she tells him that it's not that complicated, that he just needs to avoid the following. We can still hang out. I don't deserve you. Yet. I need more, quote, me time before we can have, quote, we time. With the air quotes. And then it's my personal favorite.
It's not you. It's me.
Mm-hmm. And whatever you do, do not start a conversation with, we need to talk. Other than that, he'll do fine. She takes a sip of water, and he pulls yet another great face. There's a picture on the website. You're welcome. And then we cut back to the Franklin house. Prue is now sitting on the couch in the living room, and Mr. Franklin is holding the picture of his family that Prue magicked at him earlier. And he has apparently been telling her what happened, because we come into this conversation at the end where they hit him and he passed out. And he sits in the armchair and puts the picture down on the table. And he says that he's been going crazy, wondering if he should go to the police or do what they say, and that they promised to bring him back, but after what the police said happened that morning, he doesn't even know if Max is alright. And Prue, of course, says that Max has to be okay, because otherwise he couldn't have sent her the message.
Yeah.
And Mr. Franklin...
Which is good logic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And comforting.
Yeah, wonderful logic.
Which are not always congruent.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mr. Franklin asks if she's a witch too, and Prue asks if that's what Max says he is, and Mr. Franklin says that that's what his wife Paulette said he is, and that's what she was. He also says that it would have been much easier to handle her family secret had she told him sooner, and Prue says that she may have been afraid of how he would react, that he might not accept or love her.
I smell a parallel.
Uh-huh.
A very obvious parallel that's smacking you in the face.
And it's smacking you so far in the face that Mr. Franklin asks if she's speaking from personal experience, and she says that she is. It's like they're not even trying to hide it.
Because they don't.
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So Mr. Franklin says that when Paulette had to tell him, it was because she was running out of time. And this is when we learn that she passed away 3 months earlier, and then Max suddenly gained his power.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they don't tell us why she passed away. They don't tell us...
Well, he probably doesn't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know, because it was... She had to tell him because she was running out of time. So it's the question of, did she get sick? Or was there a demon out to get her? Like, we honestly, we don't know.
I would doubt that it would be, like, a supernatural reason if she knew she was running out of time. Like, she knew what a deadline was. Because this isn't supernatural where she's, like, made a bargain with the devil, like, 10 years. Like, this is not that.
Yeah, no, but I don't... But because they don't tell us, there are so many possibilities that it could be that I don't know which one it is.
I mean, it's some possibility wherein she knew approximately when she was going to die, and so knew the timeline.
Yeah.
And that speaks more to, like, an illness, for me, at least.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because she also apparently talked a little bit to Max to tell him not to use his powers for bad stuff.
Yeah, but he also says, he says that he doesn't have a clue what to tell Max about his powers, and then he goes and uses his powers and nearly gets busted at an arcade, and now this has happened, and Prue starts to say something, but he cuts her off and asks if she has any children, and when she says no, he says that she couldn't possibly understand what he's feeling. This pisses me off. First, she never said she understood what he was feeling. Second, just because someone doesn't have children doesn't mean that they can't understand that you're going through a very difficult time.
Yes, okay.
You don't need to have kids to know that a kid being in trouble and you can't help them out of it is a horrible situation.
Yes. Remember, people, there are 3 ways of relating to a person who is feeling an emotion. You can have empathy, which is you feel the feeling. Sympathy, which is you can understand the feeling and you want to help. And compassion, where you're just like, okay, what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for people who may not be able to feel much empathy because they don't really understand the other things that people are going through, or their emotions process differently, whatever, they tend to have really high compassion because they're like, well, I know I'm supposed to do something. I don't know how they're feeling, but I feel like I'm supposed to do something.
Yeah. And the other thing that also annoys me is like, I had cancer at 17. So when somebody else has cancer, I can relate. But even though I've had cancer and they have cancer, doesn't mean I understand what they're going through.
This is true.
Because it's a completely different situation.
Mm-hmm.
Even if somebody had the same exact cancer I had, that doesn't mean our experiences
their
of it...
recovery experience might have been a lot lengthier or a lot shorter. Yours was actually pretty short, though, wasn't it?
Mine was...
Okay.
I was diagnosed and cured, basically, within a year.
Mm-hmm.
Because we caught it fast enough.
Oh, yeah.
And it responded stupid fast to chemo.
Yeah, because you're young.
But yeah, it annoys me when it's like, you couldn't possibly understand. No, I never said I understood exactly what you were feeling or what you were going through, but I can understand why it's a horrible thing that's happening.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Mm-hmm.
So, Prue says that she's sorry about what happened to Max and to his wife, but that he needs to forgive her. And he says that she should have told him so that he could be better able to protect Max. And Prue kind of ignores that and asks if he knows anyone who owns an auto shop of any kind. And he shakes his head and asks why. And she says that she thinks that Max was sending her a clue. And then he remembers that Max's friend Danny's brother, works at an auto shop in Oakland.
And Prue asks, is Danny the friend who broke into the arcade with Max?
And his eyes widen.
So we know that's a yes.
Yeah.
It's like blue shivering.
And so she asks for an address. And then we cut back to MJ's auto house. The exact same outside shot, it looks like.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Because isn't there like a car in the foreground?
Yeah. We only have 2 outside shots, I believe, of MJ's.
Or do we have 1?
No, I think there's 2. There's one that's the straight on, and there's one
corner,
later that's slightly off.
Okay.
Later on. Max is trying to get free of the ropes holding his hands together.
Very ineffectually.
Of course, but his feet aren't tied, so why doesn't he just run?
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, I saw a video today of how to teach your kids how to get out of zip tie handcuffs. It involves untying your shoes and then looping it through the zip ties and then tying them back and then just, like, using your shoes to saw through it. Because the heat of the shoelace apparently will, like, melt the zip tie or something.
That's great if you have shoes that have laces.
Yes. The other option I've seen is that you tighten them as far as they'll go and then use your hip bones to break them apart.
Yes.
Which only works if you can have access to your hip bones.
Yes.
My option is to chew.
Which is harder than you think, though.
I know it is, but I've done it.
Depending on the angle.
Yes, but I chew a lot of shit.
You have teeth, like, that are nice. I do not have good teeth.
Yes, I've sharpened them on my dentist. That's almost a joke. You can't see it, but Kat is laughing.
Sometimes I hate that I have silent laughter. Okay.
You looked pained, too.
Anyway. So, Prue appears in the doorway and calls for Max, and he asks who's there, which I thought was very funny. And she goes over to try and help him get free, and she introduces herself and says she's there to take him home. Max asks how she found him, and she says that she had a little chat with his friend Danny, and that his dad is waiting for him. And then Mickey appears in the doorway, and Prue stands up, and he gets out a "Who the hell are you?" before she uses her power to push him into the tire rack behind him, and he falls onto the floor. And then Max looks at Prue with wide eyes, and Clean Cut Dude enters, so she uses her powers to push him into the tire rack, and he falls down on the floor nearly on top of Mickey. And then Prue helps Max up and says they need to hurry, and of course he's like, "You have powers?" And she says that she'll explain it in the car, and he says that he can't leave or they'll kill his dad, and then Mickey comes up and hits Prue, and she gets knocked unconscious. Now, 2 things. 1, why was there no sound of them getting up in the background? No sound at all.
Shrug.
Yeah. And 2, there's a barrel for Amico behind her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that company doesn't exist anymore. They were bought out by British Petroleum in August of 1998 for $48.2 billion. It's billion with a B.
Bzz.
Bzz. The wiki page for Amoco is super interesting. It's a super interesting read. I love learning new things.
I remember, like, the main gas station where we would go for gas is now one of the least expensive gas stations in the town where I used to live. But it was an Amoco station.
Mm-hmm.
And
is it now a BP?
It is.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know they were bought out, but that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, the wiki page for Amoco, super interesting read. So I'm not going to read everything because there's a lot of info, but they started out as Standard Oil in 1889.
Wow.
In Whiting, Indiana, and they invented both the gasoline tanker truck and the drive-through filling station.
Damn.
Yeah. So they were bought out a couple of times. So
what would you have before the drive-through filling station?
You know, I honestly don't know. I didn't bother to find that out. But so they were bought out a couple of times, so the names have changed a few times. But before they were bought out by BP, the headquarters for Amoco was in Chicago in what used to be called the Amoco Building, and before that, the Standard Oil Building. But it's now the Aon Center, which is now the third tallest building.
AON?
Yeah, AON.
That's funny.
Yeah, which is now the third tallest building in Chicago, only because of the Willis Tower, which used to be the Sears Tower.
Sears. It's the Sears Tower.
Not anymore.
Or if you're my brother, it's the Sirius Tower.
Yeah, so it's only because of the Willis Tower, which used to be the Sears Tower, and the Trump Tower.
You're not used to.
It used to be.
It
used to be.
It's still the Sears Tower. It didn't change makeup.
No, but it's
Are we
got
are
a
we
new
about
name.
to? This is an elephant and aspirin thing. It's still the Sears Tower. It hasn't changed. They slapped a new title on it. It's still the Sears Tower.
Do you call it the Allstate Arena?
I've never been there. I don't call it anything.
Okay, but if you were saying, oh, there's a thing playing at the Allstate Arena, would you call it the Allstate Arena?
What was it called before that?
The Rosemont Horizon.
How would I have even known that? It's not as ubiquitous as the Sears Tower.
That's not the point. The point is it has changed names, and we've gotten used to calling it by its new name. I will call it the Willis Tower because that's what it's called now, and I'm okay with it. It's like Marshall Fields becoming Macy's. It's fucking Macy's now. Deal with it, people. It happened. It's done.
Tower.
It used to be the Sears Tower. It is now the Willis Tower.
It's still the Sears Tower.
To you, fine. And to many others, I'm sure. But it's called the Willis Tower now. Anyway, so the Willis Tower
Sears
was the tallest building in the world for nearly 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
When it was finished in 1973, it was taller than the World Trade Center towers.
And now it definitely is.
No, because they're gone and they've built the One World Trade Center building, that is now the tallest. The Willis Tower is now the second tallest.
Well, it's
because of
taller
One
than
World
the World Trade Center towers, technically.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Willis Tower is now the 14th tallest in the world.
Mm-hmm. Continue.
Oh, well, no, because I refuse to give any facts about the Trump Tower, so if you want to know about that, you gotta wiki that shit yourself.
All I know is the lettering is gold and people keep taking photos of it with a middle finger.
Yeah.
You are talking about the one in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you ever come to visit Chicago, please don't go there. Don't give that man any money. He doesn't fucking deserve it. He's a dick. Exactly, Blue. Exactly. But then we get a commercial break after she's been knocked out. And when we come back, we're still in the auto shop. And now Prue is tied up next to Max.
Still nothing on their feet.
Mm-hmm. And Mickey shakes Prue and tells her that nap time's over and yells at her to wake up. And she does.
She wakes up and immediately turns to Max to ask him if he's okay, like ignoring the two of them entirely.
And he shakes his head that he is. And Mickey's like, he's fine. And she tries to tell Max not to worry. But Mickey hits her on the shoulder and is like, I said he's fine.
Control freak much?
Yeah. He says that he wants to show her something before she tries to pull any of that magical hocus pocus crap. And pulls out a little trigger with a red button on it. That, yeah, looks like...
There's a vague... They just took some kind of plastic cylinder and stuck a button and some wires in the middle, and they're like, sure, that looks like a bomb trigger.
Yeah, it's your stereotypical movie bomb trigger, But apparently, Prue's never seen a movie, because she asks what that is, and he says that all that matters is when he flicks this little switch that Max will take a long nap, meaning it'll kill him.
Yep.
But Clean Cut Dude doesn't seem to be happy with this turn in Mickey, and Mickey tells him to shut up. But, gotta love that little bit of bad guy rivalry.
Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Good bad guy, bad guy.
Yeah.
Because they're not the cops.
Correct. Mickey goes over to Max, kneels down beside him, and Clean Cut Dude leaves. Then Mickey shows Prue a bomb attached to Max's waist and tells her that it's plastic explosives, which is apparently a little trick that he picked up in prison, where it's very educational prison system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prue says that he's just a child and he's already proven that he's not going anywhere, so that he should put the bomb on her instead. And then he asks what they are, and he gives an interesting combo of choices. Magicians, freaks of nature, or aliens.
Okay, so one is scientific, one is less scientific, and one is not scientific at all.
Yep. And Prue says that they're witches, and then he laughs and leaves the room.
And she does a little, squinty eye at him.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, we're witches.
Yeah. And as soon as he leaves the room, Prue asks Max if he's okay, and he says that he's scared. And Prue says that she knows and then reminds him that they need him. And Max apologizes for getting her into this and for even having his stupid powers. Poor kid.
Poor baby.
Yeah. But Prue tells him to never be sorry about his powers because they're a gift, like being a musician or an athlete.
No.
And of course Max says that it's a pain, and he's a freak, and even his dad hates him because of his powers. And Prue says that he doesn't hate him, that he just doesn't understand because it's new to him too, and she promises not to let anything happen to him. And then we have a quick moment where they both say okay. It was okay, okay. But that phrase has forever been changed in my brain, and it's all John Green's fault.
Damn you, John Green!
Yeah. And then they both smile, and we cut to the other room inside the auto shop where the two bad dudes are discussing the plan. And Clean Cut wonders if wiring the kid was really necessary, and Mickey says that the only reason that Prue is still breathing is because her power is pretty cool and might come in handy. And then we're back at Quake, because, can't stay in one place too long. And Piper comes out of the kitchen and, removing her apron, heads toward Leo, apologizing because there was a small mutiny in the kitchen. And she sits down and asks, where were we? Which means that they've been able to talk a bit, and so we're coming into the conversation somewhere near the end of it, which I like.
Depending on how long the conversation is, it might just be at the beginning.
Well, yeah, maybe.
It sounds like she's just been pulled away at every possible second. Like, she'll sit down, she'll start talking, and then Harry does something.
Yeah, probably. But I like the fact that we don't come in at the beginning and have to sit through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I like the same thing with Prue and Max's dad.
Although honestly, knowing his goal, it honestly wouldn't need to be anything but the beginning.
True, but I don't know. So Leo says that there's something he needs to tell her. And then he goes on to quickly say, forgive me, but I could be summoned at any moment, so I have to tell you this now. But of course he doesn't actually get up the courage to say it, so instead he just says that he can't believe how much he's missed her. And she says that she missed him too, but wants to know what he means by summoned. And then Harry comes out of the kitchen and stands by the kitchen door, actually gets her name right this time, and says that he can live with no respect, but he wants to know where the hell his coriander is, and he goes back into the kitchen. And Piper gets up, saying, I'm ending this, and heads toward the kitchen just as Phoebe enters. And Phoebe, once again, reading a situation wrong, says, oh my gosh,
Yeah, of course I know. He just yelled it to the entire restaurant.
Yeah. Didn't you hear him screaming across the room? Yeah. Phoebe leans over to say to Leo that she thought it was a secret, and he tries to stop her, but Piper says that, I wish, and that it'll probably be in the newspaper tomorrow. And Phoebe's like, no, it can't be. He never meant to hurt you. And Piper's like, you haven't even met the maniac yet. What's gotten into you? And then she goes into the kitchen, and Phoebe just looks questioningly at Leo, and he's like, she's talking about the new chef.
This is very reminiscent of your least favorite episode. This is the exact same thing. Phoebe has completely misread the situation and is trying to have a conversation based on incomplete information where she thinks the other person is confirming her idea, but really they're talking about something completely different.
Yep. The difference between that episode and this one is I actually enjoy this one. But yeah, so Leo tells her that she's talking about the new chef, and Phoebe, ever the optimist, asks if that means that she took his news well, and he says it means she doesn't know, and he says that he can't tell her because he can't stand to think about it, much less talk about it. And Phoebe says that there's something else he might not want to think about, because Piper said that Prue had everything under control, but she can't find Prue. And then we cut... Yeah. And then we cut to the exterior of the police station. Andy is at his desk when Daryl comes in with a picture of Mickey. Hi, Daryl. We missed you. Where you been, dude?
Hi, Daryl.
Uh-huh.
He's probably been writing fanfic.
Uh-huh.
There, that's not copyright, because I don't think most people can tell what the fuck I was singing.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so we learn that it is Mickey Jackson, and I love Daryl's line of, security cameras digitally enhanced for your viewing pleasure.
Yeah.
Just cute. And he hands Andy the photo from the security camera, and Andy says that Jackson's a convicted bank robber and wants to know what he's doing breaking into a microchip plant. And Daryl adds, and stealing squat. And then he says that's a good question. But Andy says a better question would be how he broke into the plant in the first place, because high-tech's not exactly his style. And Daryl sits in the chair in front of Andy's desk and thinks that this may have just been a dry run for something bigger. And Andy goes, like another bank? And Daryl replies, like a big bank. It's a leap, I know. It made me laugh. It was a funny line. And Andy agrees and then wonders how the kid fits into it. And Daryl shakes his head, has no idea, and Andy's phone rings, and he answers it, and it's Phoebe. And now we cut back and forth between the police station and the manor, as per usual. And Phoebe's on the phone, Leo's sitting on the couch, and Phoebe asks if he's seen Prue since this morning, and Andy says no, that he was about to ask her the same question because he thinks that she knows something about a boy named Max. As we cut back to the manor, we hear Andy on the phone asking if Phoebe knows anything about this boy named Max. And Phoebe fakes that her call waiting is beeping, and it's like, oh, gotta go, that could be Prue! And she hangs up on him.
Because she can't lie to a direct question, but she can invent a lie that's about something completely different and sounds plausible.
Yeah, it's like you'd think she was under a truth spell and trying to get around it.
Well, she's just bad at lying.
She's so bad at lying. It's horrible. So she hangs up, and she goes to Leo and asks if he has anything.
And of course, he comes out of his little meditative...
Whatever. Yeah. And says that he can't reach either Max or Prue telepathically. And Phoebe wonders if that means they're in trouble, and then Piper enters and asks, who's in trouble? And Phoebe has the worst cover-up. It's hilarious. She goes, the 49ers. No secondary. They need a really good draft pick next year. It made me laugh. And then she says she's going to the kitchen to see if she can get in touch with Prue. And she tells Leo to carry on, and then she leaves. Then Piper walks toward Leo and takes off her coat and sits next to him on the couch, and she seems happy that they're finally alone and that they don't have to worry about any more interruptions from Harry because he quit. And I love my notes. I said, darn, I was hoping he'd gotten burned by scalding hot oil or something. Sometimes I forget how PG this show can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They barely ever even show blood.
Mm-hmm.
Like a split lip, maybe.
They showed blood in the Wendigo episode.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Super fake blood.
Well, yeah, but you know. Anyway, she goes to hug Leo and he draws back from her, which was not the enthusiastic response she was hoping for. And he says that he's been searching all day for an easy way to tell her what he has to tell her, and then she has a moment of freak out and freezes him. And she calls to Phoebe because she knows that she's not in the kitchen. And Phoebe comes back into the living room going, that is so weird. I was just on my way back. Smooth, Phoebes.
Yep.
Smooth.
So smooth.
Yeah.
Like butter.
Mm-hmm.
Like partially melted butter.
Yeah.
But only partially. Spreadable, but not liquid.
Uh-huh.
Smooth.
Yeah.
Also greasy.
Uh-huh.
And yellow.
You yellow belly.
Well, Phoebe is afraid to lie, so.
Yeah. Anyway. So, Piper asks if Leo is about to tell her that he doesn't want to see her anymore. And Phoebe sits down on the couch next to Piper, looks over at Leo, sees that he's frozen, pats Piper on the knee and says, you'll have to ask him, and then she leaves. And then Piper turns back to Leo and time unfreezes, and Leo seems to be in the middle of a sentence that we didn't hear him start. He says, you know, that's the problem, I fell in love with you when I shouldn't have. It's like even though he freezes, his perception of time is different, so it doesn't work the same way that it works on like normal humans.
Yeah.
Because if the sentence he says before the freeze and the one that he ends with are put together, it just sounds weird. And there's a tone shift.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so I wrote it down. I said, this is the sentence he says right before the shift, leading into the next one. It says, I've been searching all way for an easy way to tell you this. And that's the problem. I fell in love with you and I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Like, even the tone shift changes. It's like there's a bit in the middle that's missing. Like, while he was frozen, he was still talking. And then when he unfreezes...
Yeah. And I think, could that be like a defense mechanism?
I don't know.
Like, his physical form stops.
Yeah.
But the rest of him is still going because he's not bound by the normal rules.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was very, very fascinating.
Because, I mean, weren't there a couple other interesting things that happened when he was frozen or something? I don't know. Like, he's been frozen a couple of times.
He has, but I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I think the fact that he didn't notice Phoebe and Prue standing there in the hallway while he and Piper were on their way out to have round 2, I think that could have been like he knew they were there, and he knew he really shouldn't know that they were there, so.
Yeah. I don't know.
I swear there was something else. I can't remember right now.
That's okay.
I know.
I thought. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird, and I don't know if that happens again at a future point, but if it does, I'll probably bring it up again. But it was just weird. So he unfreezes, and then he kind of looks at her after he says, what he says, like, how did you get there? Even though she was sitting there. But she goes, you're married. And he says no. And she goes, engaged. And he says that he's involved, but not in the way that she thinks, meaning he's not involved with another person. And he says that he led her on and made her believe that he was coming back, and she reminds him that he is back, but he says that he has to leave again, but it's not because I want to, it's because I have to. And he says that he's sorry, and she says it's okay. And of course, Leo was not expecting that as an answer, but she says that he's a nice guy, and she likes him a lot, but he is geographically undesirable. I love that phrase. Because he said that he lives really far away, and she tries never to get involved with guys she can't see regularly. Good denial there, Piper.
Yeah.
Good denial.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did just experience an Egyptian adventure.
Yeah.
So, river on the brain.
Uh-huh. But she tells him not to feel bad and that she understands. She really does. And she kisses him and then quickly leaves. And we have a little continuity error. When she goes to kiss him, she puts her hand on his leg, but when she breaks from the kiss, her hand is on his face. And then pats him on the leg.
I love those kind of videos.
Yep, it's very funny. And then Phoebe enters and asks how Piper took the news, and he says, not bad. And we hear a little music sound, and Leo says that he has to go, and he grabs his coat and heads toward the door, and Phoebe asks where he's going, and he stops in the doorway and just says that he has to leave now, and then he does. And Phoebe does this hilarious, bug-eyed face. Totally took a picture of it. It's great. It's on the site. It's awesome. But, I don't know how to explain what the little music sound is that's the sound of the elders calling Leo.
It's like a tinkling?
Yeah, but it's not like a chime. It's not like...
Not this. Listen.
It's a weird sound. I don't know how to explain it.
It's kind of a floaty, far-off, muted chime.
Yeah, it's like an ethereal chime.
Like kind of...
Yeah.
I can't make that noise with my mouth.
Yeah, I'll play it one more time. It's the only thing I can think of is it's like an ethereal chime.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess makes sense, but it was hard to figure out exactly how to explain that sound. Whatever. So she does the little bug-eyed face. And then we cut back to the auto shop, and Mickey is in a van preparing for the robbery, which includes checking out some really big guns. And Clean Cut Guy walks over to him with the blueprints. He says that once Max shorts out the alarm, they've got about 3 minutes until the guard realizes there's a signal interruption. And Mickey tells him to make sure that the kid knows what he's supposed to do, and tells him to keep an eye on Prue because he doesn't trust her.
As well he shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Way to state the obvious, dude.
Yeah. And then we cut to Prue and Max on the other side of the room, and Max asks if anything like this has ever happened to Prue before, but she says, not exactly. And she continues that usually the demon she has to deal with... ... Max cuts her off with, demons? In a very worried tone. Oh, poor kid.
Oh, he has no idea what he's in for.
No clue. Prue says, your mom didn't get to tell you much about being a witch. And he says that he just found out about his power when she died. And Prue tells him that her mom died when she was young too, and that she knows how much it hurts. And that it doesn't ever really go away. Which I wouldn't know. I guess, I don't know.
I wouldn't know either.
I don't guess you would know either, because you didn't really like your mother very much. So, I guess that's if you like your mother...
Yeah.
I have yet to experience that, and I hope it doesn't happen for a very, very long time, because I love my mother. Love you, Mom.
Hey, Dee.
But she also tells him that she didn't even know her powers were coming, and that she had to figure it all out by herself, which means that he can too, especially with his dad's help. And I love my notes. I'm sorry, but she had sisters who were also dealing with learning about their powers, so even though they weren't dealing with the same powers, they were all going through it together. But whatever. It's kind of like when you go back to the, I had cancer, you have cancer. You know? Just because we're not dealing with the same thing, the same type of cancer, doesn't mean that we're not going through it together. I don't know. Whatever. But Max says that his dad will never understand, and Prue says that he has to help him understand, which makes Max think she sounds like his mom. And Prue gives him a little side hug and says that she cares a lot about him, and he says that he wishes she could be his mom right now, which is a little creepy, but he's a kid who just lost his mom, so I'll let it slide.
Also, it's just really funny because, you know, when they're walking around, he's her height. Like, this kid is about Shannon Doherty's height.
He's shorter than her, but not
But
by
that's
much.
because she's wearing heels.
Yeah.
She is very short in comparison.
Yeah.
Especially when she's supposed to be the adult. And she's like 20 years older than him.
Hey, my cousin Melanie is older than me, and she is so tiny. She's smaller than you. She's tiny.
Adorable.
Yeah. So, size is not representative of age, but whatever. So, Prue asks what his power is, and he says that his mom called it psychokinesis, which means he can move things he can't see.
Mm-hmm. He moves things with his mind, but it's not a visual thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's entirely mental.
Uh-huh.
Hence the closing eyes and rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
Don't know why the rocking back and forth is necessary, except to cue the audience that something's happening.
Mm-hmm. And Mickey comes to them and reminds them to just do everything he says and nobody will get hurt. And we get a lovely little insert shot of the bomb switch. And Clean Cut Guy says, "Let's roll." And then Mr. Franklin shows up and calls out for Max, and Max calls back. And then the bad guys point guns at Mr. Franklin. He tells them not to shoot because he's unarmed and nobody else knows that they're there. He says that he found them the same way that Prue did, through Clean Cut's brother. And Mickey apparently didn't know about that connection.
Oh.
Whoopsie doodle.
Well, okay, he mentioned to Mickey that the kid brother had told him about what Max had done.
Yes.
So why wouldn't he think,
But,
hey, can we trust your kid brother not to, like...
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have a good explanation for why he wouldn't have wanted to, like, make sure the kid brother wouldn't rat them out. Which, granted, the kid brother probably wouldn't know anything was going on, but, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, silent hand gestures like, come on, what? Nah, meh, eh?
Yeah.
That's my verbal hand gestures.
Yep. So Prue tells Mr. Franklin that they have Max wired, which is still a weird way of saying that he's wearing a bomb. And we get another insert shot of the bomb switch. And Mickey, of course, tells her to shut up.
He could be wearing a bomb, or they could have just given him a lot of coffee.
Yeah. But Max softly calls for his dad, and Mr. Franklin tells Max that it's all right. And then he tells Mickey that he'll give him anything else he wants. He just wants his son. Please. And Mickey lowers his gun and tells David to put them in the van. Hey, Clean Cut finally has a name. All right then.
Uh-huh.
So David, Prue, and Max walk past Mr. Franklin, and he tries to reach for Max, but David pushes him aside. And then they go into the van, and Mr. Franklin begs for his son as Mickey puts a silencer on the gun, points it at Mr. Franklin's chest, and says, "Sorry," and then shoots him. Mr. Franklin falls down, and Prue sees it happen, but Max has buried his face in Prue's coat, so luckily he doesn't. And Mickey closes the side door and then gets in the front and tells David to drive. And then he looks at Prue, and Prue looks at Mr. Franklin as the van drives away, and we have a commercial break. And as we come back from the commercial, we see the van driving down a street and stopping by what I'm assuming is the Target building. And David turns and looks at Max and tells him...
Wait, they went to Target?
No. David turns around and looks at Max and tells him that it'll be just like this morning. And he shows Max the blueprints and points out where the alarm panel is. And then Max looks at Mickey, who wants to know what he's looking at. Max asks what he's going to do with his dad. And Prue chimes in saying that the sooner this is all over, the sooner we can get to him and we need to hurry. So Max looks at the map and then he uses his power to short out the alarms, opens the gate, opens the vault, and then tells them that he's done. And Mickey tells them to get out of the van, and Mickey and David put their little bank robber balaclavas on, and
Their ski masks.
And they get out of the van and make Max and Prue come with them. And they go into what turns to be a bank, and they go to the vault. David, of course, says that they have 2 minutes, so Mickey tells him to get the cash and that he'll watch the prisoners, I guess. So David goes into the vault, and Mickey watches him for a moment, and Prue uses that time to tell Max to use his power. But, of course, Max is confused, and Prue uses her power to show him to use his power on the bomb that's on him by moving his jacket out of the way so he can see the bomb. Which,
and doesn't he, like, move his arms, too?
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird. But then Mickey looks at them and grabs Max, saying he doesn't want them getting any ideas.
Oops, too late.
Yeah.
Dude, you should have made sure Prue didn't squint. You probably should have covered her eyes.
I know, right?
Because, I mean, think about it. Like, her power is visual, Max's isn't. He doesn't need to see. She does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think is interesting, because you bring up the fact that she needs to see, is that Prue's power is visual.
Mm-hmm.
Piper's power is physical, because she has to move her hands.
Yes.
And Phoebe's power is mental.
Uh-huh. But that's kind of changed.
Well, they all evolve over time.
Yes.
But I just think it's interesting
Mm-hmm.
that it's visual, physical, and mental.
Yes.
It's a good,
Yes, 'tis interesting.
'tis a good combination.
Oh, yeah.
Cha. Anyway, so Max looks at Prue while Mickey looks at David. Prue gives him a little nod, and Max closes his eyes and starts bobbing back and forth, I guess.
Rocking.
Rocking. That's
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the word for a second there. Starts rocking back and forth.
Well, it kind of does look like his head is bobbing, so I
he's
get
a
what
little,
you mean.
Yeah, he's a little bobbing. So Max is using his power on the bomb, and Mickey sees this, and he kind of yells a little of like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he pokes at Max, which I just thought was the funniest thing ever. And Max shorts out the bomb, which makes a little fire happen on his shirt that doesn't seem to affect him in any way.
Nope. Doesn't do anything to the bomb.
Do
And
you-
the plastic explosive that is strapped to his belly.
Took a picture of that, as I do. That'll be up on the website, with everything else. And he smiles at Prue, and an alarm rings. And a guard yells in the background that the alarm is coming from the vault, and then we see two guards running in from different directions. Mickey pushes Max away. Prue grabs him and holds him, making sure he doesn't get hurt. One of the guards yells out, "Hold it right there," as you do.
And of course,
And
David and Mickey
Get their guns.
Get the
'Cause,
guns and
you
turn
know.
them on them. But before they can actually shoot them, Prue flings them out of the way.
Yeah. The other guard yells, "Drop it!" And then Prue just whoosh! And they both go flying and land, like, into a desk or something. It was very weird.
Yeah.
Pushes them out of the way of the flying bullets. And so, of course, Mickey and David stop shooting, and then Mickey says that it was a big mistake for her to do that, and he pushes the button on the trigger. Apparently, he didn't see the tiny fire and smoke that happened just a moment ago. And when nothing happens, Prue says, "Right back at you," which I think is just, it's the only time I've ever heard that phrase
Yeah.
said that way. Like, normally it's
Right back at ya.
Yeah. And not back at you. And I left my notes. I was like, tell me I'm not crazy. I know Regina agrees with me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, shout out to Regina. Hi, girl.
Woo.
And just for you, Regina, fuck Roger. Just had to throw that in there.
Fucking Roger.
Fucking Roger, man. So, anyway. Prue uses her power to push David and Mickey into the vault. Then she closes it and then locks it. Tells Max to come on, and they begin to leave. But Max asks if they shouldn't wait for the cops to explain everything, and Prue said that they can't explain without telling, and that he has to protect himself by protecting his secret. Then she says that they really need to get back to his dad, and we cut to the auto shop, where Mr. Franklin is lying on the ground, still alive somehow, but very weak. And a light comes toward him and begins to form a person. And of course, Mr. Franklin thinks that it's his wife Paulette.
And he
But
says
it
so.
Yeah, but it turns into Leo.
Oh, how disappointed he must have been.
Yep. And Leo's method of orbing in this episode differs from his regular orbing. Like, instead of orbing in a column of orbs, he orbs in one big orb. But a lot of things about Leo change after this episode.
Mhm.
Like, as I've mentioned, there's a bunch of stuff that he's done in this that he never does again.
Yeah, and they were still working that out.
Yeah, because I really think that...
They always, like, the introduction of whatever powers or whatnot is always very interesting. Like, when Prue first demonstrates her powers, not on, like, Roger, on fucking Roger,
Mm-hmm.
it's at the bar with the creamer.
Yeah, and she never
And
does
that's
that
a
again.
very, well, the thing is, that was a very specific practical effect
Mm-hmm.
that's gotta be difficult to work up. You've gotta have...
Oh, yeah.
You gotta have a tube running from the little creamer pot into the coffee cup, and you have to have a pump making it go.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, you can tie a string to just about anything and have a pulley be off screen and just yank.
Yeah.
That's easy enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, for this Leo stuff, like with Phoebe's glass of water, that also would have required, like, a pump or a reversal shot or something. Probably not a reversal
No,
shot,
it
though.
was definitely air
Yeah.
coming into the...
Yeah.
Or water getting pumped in.
Uh-huh.
'Cause that's why that one little ice cube moved.
And the floating needed a harness.
Mm-hmm.
The glowing light bulb, I don't know how they did that, but I love it.
No, there is a light bulb. I don't know if it was around in
it probably has, like, a battery thing, and you connect it, the circuit connects with your fingers.
when you hold it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they need to get one of those.
Yeah.
But the hot drink, goodness knows how they did that. She could have just pretended it was hot and they added the steam and post.
Yeah. But I think for me, just the fact that, like, they were giving him powers that then he never, ever uses again, just, I don't know, it kind of annoys me a little bit. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, it doesn't really matter. So Leo walks over to Mr. Franklin, kneels down, and tells him that it's not time to be with his wife, it's time to be with his son. And then he puts his hand over his wound and heals him. And the sound effect used when Leo heals is the same sound that they use for Max's power.
Is it?
Yep. Lazy sound, guys.
They only have so many clips to work with.
Yeah.
And they've already got Prue's and Piper's and Phoebe's all set up.
Yeah. Which something tells me that it was probably because they knew they were never going to see Max again, that it wouldn't matter. But whatever. This is also the first time that Leo is shown healing a living being, because he healed and restored the Book of Shadows previously in the episode Wicca Envy, but that was an inanimate object.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time we get a living being being healed.
Yep.
Yeah. And so he takes his hand away and tells him to raise the boy well and to heed Prue's advice. Yeah.
Raise the boy well!
Get him out of that well. What did he ever do to you? No. Anyway. And then Leo orbs away as the van comes in, and I loved this little effect of the light of the orb turning into the light of the headlight on the van. That was super cool. I liked that. And Max and Prue get out. Max runs up to his dad asking if he's okay, and Mr. Franklin gets up and hugs his son, saying he's fine, and gives a few thanks to God that they're both okay. And Prue says that she saw him get... ... She stops before saying shot, and then realizes that he's not bleeding, and Mr. Franklin says that it's a miracle, and then thanks her for protecting his son. And Prue says that she's just glad it all worked out, and then tells him to raise the boy well. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And Mr. Franklin looks at her a little strangely, and she questions him on the look, and then he says that there's somewhere they need to go, and he'd like Prue to go with them. And then we get a foggy shot that's like top of buildings with some mountains in the background, and thanks to my mother's Google Earth skills, we learn that this picture is probably taken from atop of the Fairmont Hotel. Put a shot of that up on the website.
Nice.
Yeah. And we cut to a cemetery, and it seems to be the next morning, and Max and Mr. Franklin put 2 pink long stem roses with pink ribbons on Paulette's grave, which has no birth or death dates on it.
Because they're too cheap to make them.
Mm-hmm. And Prue is standing behind
if it's
them.
a giant styrofoam thing anyway,
yeah,
you might as well.
Yeah, But, so Prue's standing behind them. They're all wearing the same clothes, so it doesn't look like any of them went home, which means that they hung out for a while until the flower shop opened, because there's no way that they picked up those roses at the local gas station, and then they went to the cemetery. Like, she's been with these people for way too long.
Yeah.
Alright? Like, yeah. But Mr. Franklin and Max are down by the grave, and Mr. Franklin says that he was so busy being angry at Max's mother for leaving and not telling him her secret, Max's secret, that it was like a weight on his heart, and he hopes they can both forgive him. And then, after a moment, Max hugs his dad, and Mr. Franklin nods to Prue, and all seems well. Now, I'm sorry. Busy being mad at your mother for leaving. She didn't leave, she died. There's a difference.
She dead.
Yeah. But then we cut to an exterior shot of the manor that, like, it dissolves between Prue and the manor shot. Like, it does, like, a lovely little dissolve. And we get a split-second glimpse of the swan. I love it.
Right at the end.
Technically right at the beginning. And then the shot pans up through a tree to show that we're headed to the attic. And there's stuff all over the floor of the attic, including a cash register, a box of checkers, a dog with a drum set, and one of those weird toy phones that has the wheels and the eyes. I hate those things. They're creepy.
Wait, the what?
Little toy phones. They have like the wheels so you can pull them, and they have eyes.
And the nose.
Yeah, I hate those fucking phones, man. They're creepy as shit. And a toy train goes across the attic floor, which Kit is up there, and Kit meows at it. And Phoebe, who is holding a very large pink pig, picks up the train, and we have a little continuity thing coming up. And Piper is carrying a box of toys behind Phoebe. Phoebe is wearing it's either a white or a very light pink long sleeve hoodie with gray sweatpants with a line detail at the side, and like slipper flip-flop things that also have the line detail on them. They're like the Adidas kind of thing. Piper is in light gray pants and a brown sweater over a white shirt. And Prue is in a pale purple 3/4 sleeve sweater with large buttons and a cable knit design on the front, but it's not actually cable knit.
Oh, for shame.
Yeah.
For shame.
And jeans. And they go to a little table, and Phoebe sits down, and the continuity error is as Phoebe picks up the train, she's like holding the train with one hand. There's two pieces to the train.
Right.
She's holding the train with one hand and is starting to like try to unhook them, but she doesn't actually get there. And the second she gets to the table, the two pieces are completely unhooked and in her one hand.
Huh.
It wasn't like a huge thing, whatever, but I noticed it. It stood out to me a little bit. But, whatever, because I noticed these things. So they go to the table, Phoebe sits down, and Piper puts the box down, and Prue asks if they can believe that it's Dad's old train. And then Piper's like, I can't believe you, because Prue got mad at her for chasing monsters on her own, which is a callback to the Wendigo episode.
Yep.
And Prue says that she thought she could handle it when she realized they weren't demons, but also acknowledges that she probably should have asked for help. And Phoebe says that it almost killed her, meaning both the asking for help thing and the actually being in danger thing, which gets a live and learn from Prue, which I thought was very funny. And Piper says that, she didn't even get to say goodbye to Leo, and Phoebe asks what that's supposed to mean. And Piper says that she doesn't know, that it just felt weird, like he was holding something back from her. And Prue asks what she means, and she's like, who knows? She says that it seemed like he wasn't telling her the whole story, like he had some secret that he was afraid she couldn't handle.
She can't handle the truth.
Yeah. And Phoebe says that it was his call, which
is very uncharacteristic for Phoebe.
Which gets a what the fuck look from both Prue and Piper.
They know this is weird.
And then she tries to back down with assuming he had a secret, might not have. Like, oh, Phoebe.
Yes. And of course, then her sisters go in for the kill.
Yeah. Piper wants to know what she's talking about, and then Phoebe, of course, can't help herself, saying they don't have to beat it out of her. And she goes on to give some exposition and tells them Leo's secret and
very,
as much
very
deal.
short exposition.
Yeah.
Like if you were to sum up the situation that is Leo in 2 sentences, that's what she gives.
Yeah, she basically tells them Leo's secret in as much detail as we were given earlier.
Uh-huh.
And Prue and Piper
There's a beat, and then they both start laughing.
Yeah, they just laugh. And Piper thinks that it is the most ridiculous thing that she's ever heard.
She's having trouble speaking. Yeah. She's laughing so hard.
Yeah. Tells her not to be so silly and throws a doll at her. Phoebe, I love Phoebe. That's me, silly.
She takes a second to realize, they don't actually believe her.
Yeah.
And she's so relieved by this turn of events.
Uh-huh.
Because she technically didn't keep the secret, but also did.
Yeah. Very true. Piper says that she needs more tea, and she leaves. And Prue tells her that with an imagination like that, she should be writing children's books or something. And Phoebe...
Or something.
Uh-huh. And Phoebe starts to say that she wasn't lying or something, but then realizes that's a really good idea. And tells Prue that was a really good idea. And then Phoebe starts to move the toy train into the box of toys that are apparently being given to the Salvation Army. Pro tip, don't give things to the Salvation Army. They suck.
Mm-hmm.
Just an aside,
Yeah. Goodwill isn't much better, but it's better.
Wings. If you can find a Wings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Or, any of your, local shops. I think, there's a something elephant in Chicago. Secondhand elephant? I don't know.
I love Wings. That's a Chicago-based kind of, they're in the suburbs. Their money goes to help battered women and children.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so I routinely enjoy going to Wings. I'll give things to Goodwill because Goodwill isn't horrible and they have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There's another one that we have called Savers.
Oh, yeah. That's weird.
Is just, it's
knockoff Goodwill.
Yeah, they're more expensive than Goodwill.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's weird. So Phoebe starts to move the toy train into the box of toys going to the Salvation Army. Prue grabs it, and Phoebe is confused. But Prue now thinks that she should save some for their children. And Phoebe asks if there's a hormonal shift that she's sensing. But Prue says that it's no big deal, that she's just had some time to think, which Phoebe jokes about all that spare time of hers, which I thought was kind of funny. But then Prue says that she realizes that she does want kids and she thinks she'd be a great mom. And Phoebe asks if she saved Max or if Max saved her. And of course, Prue doesn't answer, and then Phoebe picks up the box and leaves, and we get the end credits.
I'm not just rolling my eyes, I'm rolling my whole head.
Uh-huh.
Because this dialogue is just, what?
Yeah. I don't want kids. Never have. Well, okay, that's not completely true. I've never wanted to be pregnant, ever. I've never really wanted children of my own, but like...
I used to want kids in the being pregnant sense of the word.
Mm-hmm.
And then I learned more about pregnancy, and I'm like, you know what, fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
when I was like 5 years old, and I learned that babies were in people's tummies, I was like, okay, wait a second. That means that there is something in you, and you have to get it out of you? Nope, I don't want to deal with that.
Nope.
Like, I didn't even have to know all of the scientific bullshit of, you bleed for 6 weeks afterwards, and possible hernias and all that. Nope. If you ever think you want children, just go ahead and read about it. Read about the actual shit that happens when you give birth.
And then adopt.
And then decide if you really want to go through that. And if you do, more power to you. Not saying don't do it, but don't.
Yeah.
But once you know how crazy it is to actually have a living human being come out of your body.
And there's no good way. There's no good way to have a baby.
No.
Like, going natural birth, like vaginal, painful as fuck. You bleed for 6 weeks. If you
get a C-section,
if you do C-section, you've cut through a whole bunch of muscles. The recovery is insane.
Yeah,
and there's a huge chance of infection.
Yep, and there's also a huge chance
of blood clots.
Of life-ending problems.
Yes,
same can happen in vaginal birth.
There.
This is a tangent I could talk about for 6 hours.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
So,
I guess the moral of the story is adopt.
Yeah.
There are tons of kids needing adoption.
No. The moral of the story is, if you want to have children, that's great. But don't try to tell other people that they want to have children.
Yeah. But also,
But also adopt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I really don't like it when people are like, but you don't want babies. No, I don't want babies.
No.
If I'm having children, I am adopting them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I am getting kids who know the value of, being in a home.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want a pre-verbal child, if I can help it.
Yeah.
I want them to be potty trained and verbal, so they can tell me what's wrong.
Absolutely. I've said that also.
So we can work on their communication skills. Mm-hmm. Not so I have to craft their communication skills out of the ether.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is a lot of people, when they think adoption, they automatically think babies. And I have always said, for decades now, that if I can't adopt, because adoption is actually really fucking hard to do.
Which, I get that there's a vetting process. I understand there's a vetting process.
I get it, but...
At some point, it does kind of seem less like, oh, we need to vet you, and, oh, we're just making it difficult to be difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
In some cases. In other cases, not so much. They really do care about the kids and they want to make sure that they go to the right home. But also, the foster system in this country is just fucked up.
Oh, yeah. The foster system is insane. But that's the other thing that I was thinking of. If I win the lottery and can buy a house with many, many rooms, I would foster. But I think for me, I've always said that if I was going to adopt, I would want kids above the age of 7. The kids from...
And I'd be willing to go a little bit lower. I'd be willing to go to 3 or 4.
Yeah, see, give me the kids who can complete...
I would prefer ones who would be going off to school.
Well, but give me the kids that can talk in complete, coherent sentences. Give me the ones that are between the ages of 7 and, 18. Give me the ones that nobody else wants, because those are the ones that need the most love.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that need to realize that someone actually does care about them and actually does want them to have a loving home and to have a room of their own and things that actually belong to them and not have to worry about, am I going to get beat to shit because I was, 2 minutes late to curfew? Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, there's all kinds of ways you can, come to foster kids, and it's so nice. Like, hey kid, come live with me because I know you need it, and it's a better environment than a group home.
Yeah. But we digress.
As we always do.
Absolutely. So, back to the episode. Like, Phoebe doesn't use her power of premonition at all in this episode.
She doesn't.
She hasn't used it in a couple of episodes.
And Piper has used hers twice, both for arguably personal gain reasons.
Yeah. I don't know. Alright, but we're on to our rating.
Yeah.
Would you like to go first? Would you like me to go first?
I'll go first, because I think I let you go first the last couple of times. I like this episode. It's fun, even if the dialogue is kind of like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Really dangerously close to C4 flames.
Alright. I really, truly love how our ratings differ so much sometimes. It's like, I really like this episode. 7.
Well, okay, like, a 5 is a perfectly average episode. I don't care one way or the other. It's not bad, but I don't really like it.
Mm-hmm.
An 8 or a 9 for me is like, this is one that I remember in great detail because I think about it a lot. A 10 is an episode that I think is technically perfect in every way and also makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a 7 is, I like it. It's not my favorite, but I do enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think about it badly. Now, 7.5 is closer to the, I love this episode, kind of end of the bar.
Yeah. I don't know, for me...
Because you'll remember what I gave Wicca Envy. It was like a 3.
Yeah,
You gave it a higher rating because Leo was in it.
Yeah, I did. I really like that Leo episodes. I don't know. But I think for me, like, I don't know, I'll be completely honest. I don't know if there's a single episode in the entire series that's going to get a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I don't know that I have given anything that high.
I don't know. But this episode got a 9 out of 10. Creepy toys that no one else wants.
Dollies.
Dollies. Yep. I think for me, like, a 5, like you said, it's a perfectly adequate episode. Not good, not bad,
Just
whatever.
Meh.
Yeah, it's an okay episode. But, like, when it gets to the higher numbers, like, an 8 is an episode that I thought was really good, but I wouldn't necessarily watch it again. A 9 is an episode that was really good, and I'd probably watch it again.
Yeah, I tend not to rate things in terms of, whether or not I would watch it again, because let's face it, I'll watch them all again. Because when I watch, I like to watch in order.
Mm-hmm. And
it's rare for me to pick out, like, a single episode and just watch that of any show, really. Like, with Criminal Minds, there's, a certain arc that I really like, and so I will start at the beginning of the season when the arc starts, like, picking up, and then watch through the end of the season when it finishes.
Like, for me, like, the show Leverage, we know how I feel about Leverage. I don't think that I could give a rating for Leverage less than a 6. I really do. And a 6 is pushing it. Like, I think for me, personally, Leverage would be on a 1 to 5 scale. 5 is perfection, 1 is crap, and I'd never watch it again. And even on a 1 to 5 scale, I don't think I would give it lower than a 3. Because I love Leverage so much.
And I look forward to pissing you off with some of my ratings.
Oh yeah, no, I am so excited about the day that we get to do Leverage together. I'm so excited about it. So let's go on to outfits. So
did Phoebe not change outfits at all?
No, they're all basically in the same outfit for most of the episode. They only have different outfits at the very beginning and the very end, basically.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that would be hilarious if Phoebe didn't change outfits twice in a row.
Yeah.
That'd be so weird.
Yeah. So, what do you think outfit-wise?
I really like that shirt Phoebe's in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shirt I would wear.
Mm-hmm.
It's cute.
For me, I like Piper and Phoebe's outfits from the beginning of the episode and Prue's outfit from the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like any of the outfits in the middle.
Well, because with Piper's work outfit, Prue basically wearing something under a jacket, so you barely ever see it.
Yeah.
And Phoebe wearing a pink sweater the entire time. Mm-hmm. That somehow does not ride up.
Yep.
And it so wants to.
It really does. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
We're done with episode 114.
Finally.
I'm so excited.
And you just can't hide it.
Uh-huh. I am excited.
I am so excited.
I am excited.
It's time for the plugs.
Yeah. Social media time.
Is that going with exposition time?
Sure.
So, for social media, we are at charmedchats.com,
As always.
Charmed Chats Pod on both Tumblr and Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Pinterest
Yeah.
that's semi-active.
It's getting more active.
That's semi.
Yeah.
Okay. Hemi, semi, demi, quaver. We have a Facebook page that is just Charmed Chats.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're posting on there, we have decided that to designate who is posting, we will label which cat we are on the logo.
Yep.
Which I know we discussed at the beginning of the podcast, but for those
Yeah, I
of you who
don't
may
think I've
not feel like
mentioned it.
catching up,
We haven't mentioned it since episode 1.
uh-huh. So if it's tagged Ragdoll, that is me.
That would be Kendra.
And if it's tagged Lynx,
That would be Cat.
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And if it's tagged Blue, you should worry about our sanity because Blue can't type.
Yes. Though if it's tagged Blue, it's probably Kendra.
Yeah, let's face it.
If we're being honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
And as always...
Oh, yes, and Snapchat.
Oh, yeah, we're on Snapchat.
We are on Snapchat
We post random crap.
and Instagram.
Yeah, we post random crap on Snapchat every Sunday, or almost every Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
when we record. And on Instagram, 90% of the time, it will be pictures or video of Blue, because he's our familiar and we love him.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, we ask if you would check out patreon.com/charmchats. And if you can spare $1 a month to maybe donate and help us out.
That would be wonderful.
Because I know that most people listen to this on iTunes, and that means that we have to put this up on iTunes. We are quickly running out of space to put the podcast up.
Mm-hmm. And while we're looking into other avenues of dealing with that, of, getting a little more storage, because, when we run out of storage on the archive, that means that whatever, older episodes, we've got to pull from iTunes. In order to make sure that we don't go over our storage limits, otherwise we can't upload more.
Exactly.
And we'd love to be able to not do that, so that people can continue just listening through the entire collection.
Yeah. This is the 14th episode, and storage is nearly full, so we need to either buy more storage or stop putting the episodes up on iTunes.
Yeah.
And we want to keep putting the episodes on iTunes, but we can't really afford more storage right now.
Yes, because
so
we don't have that much disposable income.
Yeah.
But we really love doing this.
Yeah, we really, really do.
And we hope that enough people love that we're doing it, that we can keep doing it.
Exactly. Right, Blue?
Yeah. Yeah, baby?
Yeah. But now that we have begged for donations...
Yes, and Blue has begged for food.
Uh-huh. And given out all of our social media stuff, so that's us done for another week. So until next week,
sleep tight. Don't let the warlocks fight.
Bye.
Phoebe, Piper, and Pooh, we've got evil to slay and some potions to brew. So we'll see where it's at next week with Kendra and Cat on Charm Chats.
Fucking Roger.
Fucking Roger, man.